HOK is the toughest environment. Enter at your own risk. The HOK is the toughest environment. Enter at your own risk.
Yo, I grew up where the air hung heavy and thick. Every corner a battlefield. Gotta be quick, street light, neon sound. In the toughest environment, feet on the ground. I talk fluent in the silent language that the broken walls speak. This is a fortress of steel. When iPad speaks, no escape from HOK. This is real. Before you come in here, you better know the deal.
Carry the whole block's weight in my soul. Born from the cinder block, ashes, people are cool. The toughest environment is me. Built from the concrete, the toughest environment is sa.neter. When you step into the Colosseum, we gon' see them. The ancient of the days, artifact in the museum, yeah. Enter at your own risk.
Don't be like a little bitch.
Oh my, my. Enter at your own risk.
Don't be like a little bitch.
Yeah, this way it goes down, 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 down. Try to win, you gotta have tough skin.
The concrete freeze like ice. Israelites cool-blooded, think twice, The air cuts like a scalpel. Survival ain't a choice, it's a physical grapple. Where the street lights blink, judgment in the shadows hold a price. Grew callous over fear, paid my dues in pure sacrifice.
Shout out to all those that support this shadow. Special days to you. Without you there is no me.
Check.
I heard it.
Yes, it's ready to go.
Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. Y'all already know what it is. Welcome to the HOK, the House of Consciousness, the toughest environment to be in, and definitely the hostile environment to be in. So we just added that on because all this month has been hostile between Unc and Dr. Inky. Enough of the tough talk, enough of all of that other stuff. Family, we're getting ready to get right into this debate. I want to first thank everybody who came in, who supported this debate. For the debaters, opening round, 5 minutes. First, second, and third round, 20 minutes. We're going to give the people their money's worth, 20 minutes. 2-minute rebuttal after each round. You got 2 minutes rebuttal. When one person is speaking, your mic should be off if you're not speaking. We got the Q&A. The Q&A is right after all of the rounds. You get 4 questions apiece, and all questions must be answered. That goes with the debate. All questions must be answered. If it's a simple, I don't know, or that's an answer. All right, let's go.
Whenever he's ready, when he's ready.
You got 5 minutes in your opening, Unc.
All right, hold on, bro. I'm trying to.
All right.
Everybody can see it?
Yes, misinformation. And
okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
5 minutes now. Go ahead, start.
We locked in. Black African power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Woo-hoo-wee, man. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's God killing the house. Man, let me get right to this misinformation and disinformation. Anti-intellectualism harms the African-American community. So my first round will be exploring the impact of false narratives and mistrust in health policies and education within the African-American community. The impact of misinformation and disinformation in African-American communities. Misinformation and disinformation, distinct yet interconnected concepts, pose significant threats to the public trust and institutions, particularly in the African-American communities. Historically, injustice and systematic barriers, exacerbate these challenges, leading to harmful consequences in health, policies, and education. Targeted misinformation during COVID-19. COVID-19 conspiracy theories targeted African Americans, fueling distrust and rooted in historical injustice. Historical mistrust in healthcare. Historical abuse, such as Tuskegee syphilis study, have created deep-seated mistrust towards medical institutions amongst African Americans. This legacy explanations continue to influence perceptions of healthcare and vaccinations. Impact of vaccine hesitancy. Vaccine hesitancy in America and African American communities have resulted in preventable deaths, and decreased engagement with public health initiatives. The reluctance to receive vaccines is compounded by misinformation and historical injustice that have shaped health perceptions. Political disinformation, Russian disinformation targeting Black voters. Y'all didn't know that happened to you. Yes, it did. In 2016 election, Russia disinformation campaign targeted African American voters to suppress turnouts and create distrust. Impersonations of Black activists on social media. There was a lot of nuts out there. I was wondering. Fake accounts impersonating Black activists spread diverse content, polarizing the community and undermining trust in genuine voices. Educational disinformation. Erosion of confidence in science. This is what's going on in our community. False narrative on science harm trust in education and deter students from STEM careers, impacting African American representation. Acceptance of pseudoscience. Misinformation fuels pseudoscience. Anti-vaccine, flat earth, climate denial, harming public health and environment. Lack of resources in education. Under-resourced schools lack tools to combat disinformation, okay? Worsening inequalities and exposing youth to false narratives. Anti-scientific and anti-intellectual attitudes, rejecting expertise. Cultural skepticism leads to distrust in science and expertise, reducing public engagement with evidence-based practices. Educational underfunding. Underfunding in education limits STEM access to interests, especially in undeserved communities. Underrepresentation in science. This is our real problem here. Limited exposure to scientists of color, fostering a sense of alienation and discouragement amongst young African Americans. This lack of representation contributes to the feeling of disempowerment and disengagement from scientific pursuits. Cultural barriers to knowledge. Cultural barriers, including stereotypes and misconceptions. You know, like the white man's science about intelligence and science, further inhibit individuals from seeking knowledge. This can perpetuate a cycle of disengagement from scientific inquiry and education. Lack of scientific literacy in the African American community, vulnerability to pseudoscience scams. They scamming you. Economic marginalization from STEM careers. It's money in there for us. Reduced participation and civic engagement. A lot of y'all don't even want to vote. You don't know why. Disinformation and misinformation on Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. Disinformation surrounding Charles Darwin's theory of evolution distorts scientific facts, leading to misconceptions, hindering understanding of evolution. This can foster anti-intellectualism and trust in science.
Thank you very much, Unc. Thank you so much for that strong opening. We're moving right on to our brother.
All right, remove your slide on the poll. I'm sorry, I got to cut in right quick.
Gotcha.
Right.
Dr. Inky.
Yes, sir.
All cameras must stay on if you're a debater, because it shows the lack of disrespect for the other brother. So you got to have your cameras on at all times.
My bad, my children was in here.
And you can't say time. That's our job, Inky. You can't say nothing.
Okay.
Same way with Unc. Everything I'm saying to you applies to Unc too.
I got you.
Go ahead, Nepal. You got it.
All right, thank you so much. Dr. Inky, when you are ready, let me know if you have something to screen share. We'll screen share it. Yes. And your time starts when you start talking.
Okay, I just wanted to say, you can start my time. I just wanted to say that I hope Unc is not preparing to go a whole night without showing us any sources to prove that Darwin had a complete theory, because that would be crazy. Secondly, I have a perfect video here that I think that we can all watch and enjoy, based on Unk's presentation, his opening, and some of the comments he made leading into the debate. I think that the most important thing that we can do to get children, especially in the Black community, engaged in scientific pursuits is by letting them know that their ancestors were the ones who actually created the sciences that are being taught in their schools, and that is in their blood.
There is this truth where the cosmos collide, and the energy whispers, never says goodbye. The Beatles grow, the Beatles the wave becomes a particle, spit holds the flame. It's all bursts the chaos, yet the chaos tries my name. Beatles, 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 no. Sending the word when I grab on the show. Beatles, Beatles, no. Every time till the blackness is so the heat fades lower, the order begins. Stillness so perfect, comes from within. The voices softly repeating the bell in the shadows, the scare of your time. Second law is dancing, feeding life through decay. The third law of the promise that's
I'm pausing your time because I don't hear anything. Inky.
I can hear it.
You can hear it? Okay. Well, all right. So I'll unpause it then.
All right, so I want people to understand as we move into the next round that today's quantum mechanics, today's thermodynamics are gifts that modern science has claimed from our ancestors. So when we teach the children that science that we have today, modern science, the things, these laptops, these stuff, all of these things originate with our ancestors, it creates a different type of look. Instead of being an outsider looking in, they realize that this is their gift that they share with the world, and it's their responsibility to continue to move it forward.
Okay. You can start my time.
Okay, time starts now. I'll be back.
So don't let them flim-flam you with presentations on, or I teach colleges with African, here you go, African, the cradle of innovation. Okay, STEM, that's what I do. This is what we do. Okay, so can y'all see my presentation? Did it switch to this?
Yes, we see everything.
You see everything, you see this?
We see the flyer.
Okay, all right. Hold on, let me, 1 second. Hold on, stop there 1 second, hold on. Let me, 1 second, you gotta freeze it for 1 minute.
Got it.
Freeze the time, hold on. Okay, let me get this all straight here, okay? All right. Okay, I'm ready, let's go, we hot. Okay, so
resume.
So we need to start this off with the educational process, flowing right with the debate. Understanding scientific concepts, theory, hypotheses, and laws, exploring the definitions and relationships between scientific theories, hypotheses, and laws. Darwin's mistakes and modern corrections. How modern evolutionary science refined and expanded Darwin's ideas. This is an important point. So let's deal with some of the mistakes he made. Misunderstanding heredity. Darwin's proposed pangenesis and blended inheritance. Believed traits blended together from parents. This would erase variation needed for natural selection. Modern correction. Mendelian genetics. All right. Particulate inheritance. Lack of knowledge of genetic variation. Like, how would he know about genetics? It wasn't there yet. Darwin recognized variation, but couldn't explain its source. Through variations appeared spontaneous. Thought variations appeared spontaneously. Modern correction. Genetic variation arises through mutation, combination of gene flow. DNA is molecular basis of inheritance. He just wouldn't have known about that yet. Steps to get to science, step by step. Overemphasizing of natural selection. Darwin viewed natural selection as the primary evolutionary force, underestimating other evolutionary mechanisms. He wouldn't have known it yet. Impossible. Modern correction. Evolutionary processes include natural selection, genetic drift, mutation, and gene flow. Sexual selection also plays a key role. Gradualism as the only mode. Darwin believed evolution always occurred slowly and gradually. Did not consider rapid evolution change. Modern correction. Evolution can be gradual or rapid. Punctuated equilibrium shows rapid burst followed by stasis. Incomplete understanding of speciation. Darwin lacked genetic understanding and how new species arose. He wouldn't have known about genetics because it wasn't understood yet. Focus on divergence, but not reproductive isolation. Modern correction. Speciation involves reproductive barriers, including allopatric, sympatric, and other speciation processes. No knowledge of molecular mechanisms. Darwin did not know about DNA, RNA, or molecular inheritance, could not explain the physical basis of heredity. Modern correction. Discovery of DNA structure and function. Molecular biology explains inheritance, variation, and evolution. 7. Social and cultural misrepresentation. Darwin's ideas were misused to justify racism and eugenics. Concepts like social Darwinism are pseudoscience. Modern correction. Modern evolutionary biology rejects racial inheritance. Humans are a single species with shared ancestry. Summary table. Here's all my sources. Understanding scientific concepts, hypotheses, theories, and laws. This presentation is basically going to give you a working understanding and the structure of scientific ideas, and we will clearly define it so you can understand the rest of the debate. The debate topic was Pangenesis, the scientific portion of Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. Did Darwin produce a scientific theory of evolution? Make him stick to the topic. Inky speaks pseudo language. Gonna double talk you. He gonna hit you with the flim flam bam bam boom. What is a scientific theory? It's a well-tested explanation of some aspect of the natural world. Scientific theories are based on a body of evidence. They are used to make predictions about natural phenomena. Make predictions. This is important. Theories are rarely overturned. They are usually refined or expanded. Once again, theories are rarely overturned. They are usually refined and expanded. Instead, theories tend to be modified to account for new evidence like genetics and DNA and chromosomes. Scientific hypothesis is a proposed explanation for a phenomenon. It is a testable idea and explanation. The purpose of an hypothesis is it is a testable potential explanation of a phenomenon. Hypotheses can be refined or discarded based on evidence. Hypotheses are an essential part of the scientific process. What is a scientific theory? A scientific theory serves as a comprehensive explanation of phenomenon within the natural world, grounded in repeated testing and substantial corroborating evidence. This rigorous approach follows the scientific method, utilizes established protocols and observation, measurements, and evaluation to ensure reliability and validity in understanding complex systems. Characteristics of scientific theories. Tested under controlled conditions. Scientific theories emerge from repeated testing and validation under controlled conditions, ensuring reliability and accuracy. This process involves meticulous observation and measurements, which contribute to a robustness of the scientific theory. Evaluated through adductive reasoning. The evaluation of scientific theories often involves adductive reasoning, which seeks the most likely explanation for observed phenomenon, allowing scientists to draw logical conclusions based on existing evidence, withstand the rigors of scrutiny, supposed to get scrutinized. Established scientific theories have withstood rigorous scrutiny over time, demonstrating the reliability. This scrutiny involves peer review and replication of results by independent researchers, ensuring scientific integrity. Embody scientific knowledge. Scientific theories embody a comprehensive understanding of the natural world, integrating facts, laws, and tested hypotheses into a cohesive framework that enhances our knowledge of complex systems. Can theories be debunked or discredited? Man, it's got to be. Not usually in the way people think. Scientific theories are rarely thrown out entirely. Instead, they are refined and expanded or replaced by theories that explain more. Let's get a little bit deeper. When a theory fails to explain new data, scientists revise or supersede it rather than discrediting the entire framework. This is important to understand that point right here. Can theories be debunked or discredited? Example, Newton's theory of gravity was debunked when Einstein's general relativity came along. Newton's laws still accurately describe motion at every scale. Einstein's extended them to include high speeds and strong gravitational fields. So older theory was incomplete. Once again, so the older theory was incomplete, not false. Similarly, Darwin's theory of evolution wasn't discredited by the falsified Pangenesis or modern genetics. It was strengthened and modernized into what we now call modern evolutionary theory synthesis. What is a scientific hypothesis? A scientific hypothesis, a testable statement about the natural phenomenon, essential for validation or refutation through experimentation. Let me go back right here. This lady right here, she's a human computer, Mary Jackson. Big up to the scientists. Scientific hypothesis. Scientific hypothesis is a preliminary statement about the natural world generated from observations. A second. Generated from observations. It aims to lead testable predictions and can be modified or rejected based on experimental results. The validation of an hypothesis is established through reducible experimentation, marking it a fundamental building block in scientific inquiry, scientific theories. In contrast, a scientific theory is a comprehensive explanation of the natural phenomenon that has undergone extensive testing and validation. This is what happened to Charles Darwin theory. It integrates various facts and laws. So it integrates scientific facts and scientific laws and previously tested hypotheses, providing a broader understanding of a complex concept within a scientific domain. Theories must withstand the rigors and scrutiny and are considered reliable knowledge in science. What is a scientific law? A scientific law are substantive statements derived from extensive empirical evidence that consistently describe and predict natural phenomena. These laws are founded on repeated experiments and observations, providing a reliable framework for understanding and interpreting the behavior of the natural world. Characteristics of scientific law. Developed from data. Scientific laws are formulated based on extensive data collection and analysis. They arise from repeated observations and experiments, establishing a reliable foundation for understanding the natural phenomenon. Expressed mathematically. This is important. They are expressed mathematically. Many scientific laws can be expressed through mathematically, allowing for precise predictions of the natural phenomenon. This mathematical representation is crucial for applying laws to real-world situations and computations. Based on empirical evidence, scientific laws are firmly grounded in empirical evidence derived from systematic observations and experimentations. This evidence must be repeatable and verifiable to ensure laws' validity. Reflect causal relationships. Laws reflect the causal relationships inherent in natural world. They describe how variables interact and behave under certain conditions, providing a fundamental understanding of physical processes. Understanding scientific facts. Scientific facts represents the observation that has been consistently verified through repeatable measurements and experimentation. These facts serve as the fundamental building blocks for developing scientific theories and understanding natural phenomena, highlighting the dynamic nature of scientific inquiry, where truths may evolve over time as new evidence emerges. Definition of facts, theories, and laws in science. Scientific fact. In science, a fact is observed that is an observation that has been repeatedly confirmed and is accepted as true. However, scientific truth can evolve. What is considered a fact today may be evaluated or modified within new evidence, unlike religion. Scientific hypothesis, Pangenesis. A scientific hypothesis is a tentative statement that proposes an explanation for a phenomenon. It leads to deductions that can be tested and verified through experimentation. If proven true consistently, a hypothesis may evolve into a theory. Scientific laws are subsequent statements based on repeated experiment observations and describe or predict natural phenomena. They repeat established principles that describe how things constantly behave under specific conditions. Let me make sure I got that right. All right. Scientific theory. In scientific context, a theory is a well-substantiated explanation of some aspect of the natural world. Theories integrate facts, laws, inferences, and tested hypotheses, providing a comprehensive understanding of a particular phenomenon. Common misconceptions in scientific terminology. This is where the rubber meets the road. Hypothesis versus theories versus law. The common misconception that hypotheses can progress to theories and then to laws is misleading. In scientific terms, hypotheses and theories serve different purposes. Hypotheses are specific predictions that can be tested, while theories are well-substantiated explanations supported by a body of evidence. Laws describe the behavior of natural phenomena, but do not evolve from hypotheses or theories in a hierarchy. This is important. Most people mess it up. The misunderstanding of theory. The term theory in everyday language is often used to mean a guess or an untested idea. However, in science, a theory is a comprehensive explanation of a phenomenon that has been rigorously tested and is supported by substantial evidence. Hence, saying something is just a theory undermines the extensive validation that scientific theories undergo. Laws describe, they don't punish. Scientific laws state what happens under certain conditions and are based on repeated observations. They do not punish everything. Rather, they describe constant behaviors in nature. For example, a law of gravity describes how objects fall, but it does not imply any punitive measures for objects that do not follow this law. The role of evidence in science, understanding foundational importance of evidence in shaping scientific knowledge. Involvement of facts. All hypotheses, theories, and laws depend on verified facts. The role of evidence. Evidence is paramount for the validation of acceptance of scientific claims. It's essential. Nature of facts. Scientific facts are subject to change as new evidence emerges. That's dynamic. Case study of Darwin's provisional hypothesis of pangenesis and the theory of evolution. Darwin's provisional hypothesis of pangenesis, 1868, posed that parts of an organism contributed tiny particles called germinals to reproduce material attempting to expand heredity. Although innovative, this concept was later rejected. I'm gonna say it again, this concept was later rejected with the rise of Mendelian genetics and the discovery of DNA. It did not replace or supersede Darwin's early theory of evolution by natural selection, which remains the cornerstone of evolutionary biology. Darwin's Pangenesis and its impact on evolutionary theory. Pangenesis reflects how scientists in the 19th century tried to reason about heredity before genetics existed. It illustrated how science itself corrects. Provisional hypotheses are tested, refuted, and integrated into better theories. Modern synthesis, 1930 to 1940, successfully merged Mendelian genetics with Darwin's natural selection, producing a contemporary framework for evolutionary biology. Did falsifying the pangenesis strengthen Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection? Yes, falsifying Charles Darwin's provisional hypothesis of pangenesis did not weaken his evolutionary theory. Paradoxically, it strengthened it in the long run by clarifying the distinction between heredity and selection and by paving the way for modern genetics to support, expand natural selection. Conclusion and key takeaways. Understanding the distinction between scientific theories, hypotheses, and laws is crucial to grasping the scientific method and the nature of science inquiry. Each component plays a vital role in developing the scientific knowledge, where theories provide comprehensive explanations, hypotheses offer testable predictions, and laws predict.
1 minute.
At the end of the day, science is counterintuitive, contrary to intuition or to common sense expectations, but often nevertheless true. Running draws attention, walking blends in. Human perception is wired to notice sudden movement. A person springing from a scene of a crime automatically looks suspicious, but someone who walks slowly may appear calm and uninvolved, which can lure immediate suspicion by the police. Walking towards the police is counterintuitive, yet nevertheless is true. How many of you would ever commit a crime and then walk towards the police? You wouldn't do it.
Time.
Well, that's how you can really get away with it. See that idea right there is counterintuitive.
Thank you very much, Ankh. Perfect.
All right, so here's how we're going to do this. Since Ankh has afforded us extra time, we can take our time and address a variety of misinformation that Ankh has plagued the community with, along with his trolls in the chat over there we see. So And what I mean by afforded us extra time is that Unc has taken half of his first round to let everybody know that Darwin did not have a complete scientific theory, which is the question of the debate, just in case Unc didn't know what we were debating here. I'm trying to prove he did not have a complete theory. Unc was supposed to be proving that he did have a complete theory. So coming out in his first round saying that he knows that Darwin didn't have a complete, I'm just not sure what that strategy was, but we can move right along to Unc's view of our ancestors not having any science.
But then you just got to admit, well, you're right, our ancestors wasn't really practicing science then, because the very rules in science that was created by science was that you can't mix your spirituality with it.
So we're going to get into the theory of inspiration by natural selection, and we're going to demonstrate a few things. We're going to talk about the comedic cosplay. We're going to make sure we keep our foot on Unc's neck for him to pop up with some sources and some proof that Darwin's theory was complete, even though I don't know how that would be possible, seeing as he spent his first round saying that it wasn't complete.
And I think that y'all think I'm kinetic, but most of you people who know me know that I am not kinetic.
We just got to highlight the comedic cosplay. Now, these books that you see here are the books that I'll be primarily using for the entire debate. So if you want more information on what you see here, you can get these books and get more information.
Yes, pause it. Okay. Can you pause it now? I'm going to start the timer. You can pause it.
Start the time.
All right, go.
Swinging high up in the trees. Said to myself, that's not where I came to be. I ain't no fish, no crawling slime. Got a soul too big, and it's ready to shine. They say we crawl, but this heart of mine, it was born to brawl. Oh, Darwin, you missed the beat. Your theory's cold, but my soul's got heat. I'm dancing free, I'm standing tall. I didn't come from no jungle. Oh.
All right. That was for you, Unc, a little song. Did you hear that song, Unc?
We heard everything.
You not Unc. All right. So the god Kepler, the god of evolution. And here's where it becomes important with the comedic cosplay. Science has proven evolution by light. This is what was in the text. Now, when we go back to the story of Kepler and the Kemenu actually provide the parts and interactions for what today is called quantum field theory. This is something that Unc doesn't understand. Unc doesn't understand parts and interactions. So for the audience, parts and interactions of the parts make up something called a scientific mechanism. You have to have a scientific mechanism in order to have a complete scientific theory. If you don't have a scientific method, your theory is incomplete. So just put that in your notes while we're doing this thing here.
Down by the river where the stars collide, the sparrows, it's a cosmic ride from the Kemenu where the whispers hum, ancient echoes in the rising sun.
All right. Now, this is what quantum field theory looks like today. Quantum field theory uses the exact same motif and the exact same blueprint as our ancestors laid out. This is important for us to understand when we're talking about our historic sciences and modern sciences and the difference in between those, and then how to translate that over to the youth. Right? So this right here would be Kepler emerging from the Kemenu, as opposed to the electron or the first disturbance emerging from the quantum waves collapsing.
But then you just got to admit, well, you're right, our ancestors wasn't really practicing science.
Now, the Kemenu described the mechanism, parts and interactions of the parts of the quantum world. Uncertainty, not chaos, waves of potential. We have binary forms of cosmic waves, infinity, darkness, and invisibility. Now, this plays into the spirituality because the spiritual system was based on this cosmic blackness creating gods, which created the land, which created the people. Right? So, very simple concept. Kim is black, gods black, the land is black. So the black gods make themselves, then make a black land out of themselves, then make black people out of that black land. Very simple concept. Kepler emerges from the Kemenu. Kepler, remember, is the god of evolution. Becoming, the definition of becoming is acquiring characteristics, passing into a new state. Definition of evolution, acquiring characteristics, passing into a new state. Just so we all on the same page. Just so we all on the same page. The Kemite saw the beetle rolling its ball as a sacred paradox. Let me move this off the screen. Here we go. Damn, why I can't get this off my screen so I can read my shit?
But
okay, I can't see my screen. The Kemite saw the beetle rolling his ball as a sacred paradox. What appears as a waste is actually raw matter of new life. The dung ball is information itself, compressed into a sphere. That's waves becoming a particle, carried across the desert of time. Inspiration. Modern science gives us the language to understand this framework in terms of thermodynamics. The scarab's ball represents the truth that energy is never destroyed, only transformed. The nutrients and material expelled by one organism become a medium for another. The sun's photons that drive photosynthesis eventually cycle into molecules, then into waste, then back into the soil, then back into new life. In this way, the beetle's ball is a rolling testament to the first law. What is lost is never truly lost, only repurposed. Entropy is not annihilation. It is hidden coherence, distributed and waiting to be reorganized. This is the second law expressed as evolution. Disorder feeding emergence. Entropy feeding life. The third law of thermodynamics states that as temperature approaches absolute zero, entropy approaches a constant minimum, which is perfect order. This is the Kemenu, the black stillness of pre-time.
But then you just got to admit, well, you're right, our ancestors wasn't really practicing science.
Now, we have a tomb emerge from Kepler, which is the Ini for many people, or the beginning of the Ini, which we know as the Iunu, emerges from Atum. Earth life emerges from the Iunu. So let me slow this down for you. The Kemenu is 8 sets of twins. Kepler is now a 9th. Atum is a single, and then he creates 8 sets of twins. This is very important as a scientific blueprint. You have 4 sets of twins and one emerging from the 4 sets of twins. Then you have the one that emerged creating a new 4 sets of twins. This is very important as a scientific blueprint because what do we see in our DNA? In our DNA, we have 4 sets of twins and we have one emergent histone. So we have one histone and 4 sets of twins which regulate and control our DNA. So in Kemet, they taught us we have 4 sets of twins, then a creator, and 4 sets of twins, which gave birth to, amongst other children, Osiris, who created man, which is another 4 sets of twins and 1 creator, which we still see in our DNA today. This is modern science. So again, H1 creator of 4 sets of twins, 4 sets of twins who lead to a creator, Kepra. Kepra creates a tomb who leads to 4 sets of twins. That 4 sets of twins creates Wusia, who creates 4 sets of twins and creates your DNA. This is modern science. I want to make sure we catch it, or maybe you might have to catch it on the watch back. Now, coincidence. 2 royal legs, meaning addition and subtraction. Evolution is addition and subtraction of genes to the DNA. 2 royal legs is 2 meters. Each person's cell has 2 meters of DNA in it. Now, you might think that's coincidence, but we're going to get to that. Nature versus nurture. Nature is blind forces or powers causing and or regulating natural phenomena. The nurture is divine forces or powers regulating or causing natural phenomena. Very important distinction. Now, the origin of developmental homology. Developmental homology talks about how humans have certain things from amphibians and reptiles. We want to show that this is, again, from our ancestors. Modern science didn't create this, we did. Here is what amphibian and reptile eggs look like. And you'll notice that the allantosis is where respiration is passed from reptiles and amphibians onto the mammals and humans. We have that right here at the birthing houses and the birth walls, where they show right here on the right of your screen. This is a representation of the amphibians and the reptiles holding the ankh to the new baby's mouth to give respiration. So here you have the reptiles and amphibians passing on respiration to the mammals, and then here you have it on the wall, developmental homology. Now, this also shows irreducible complexity because there are no arms, legs, hearts, and brains evolving slowly one at a time. You see a fully formed being getting ready to be animated by the breath of life, respiration, right? So you see no developmental homology here. You see intelligent design.
But then you just got to admit, well, you're right, our ancestors wasn't really practicing science.
Now, in the funeral, in the tombs, in the funeral walls in the tombs, they had the goddesses of fertility coming out of these trees right here. This is very important because when you go to the hospital, ladies, and you take a pregnancy test, when you get a positive pregnancy test, it's called ferning. You see this right here on the screen? Make sure you're looking at this. Put the drink down. Look at this, what you see here. You see this? This is modern science right here. When a woman gets a pregnancy test, she sees the same things that Kemet put up as the goddess of fertility to recognize pregnancy. Yeah, I want you to make sure you see that. I want to make sure you see that.
But then you just got to admit, well, you're right, our ancestors wasn't really practicing science then.
Now, how could they have known that biology and Kemet without a microscope? How could they have known that? Well, because they had microscopes. See, and this is the problem with the Kemetic cosplay. With the Kemetic cosplay, they don't want to let you know where microscopes came from. And there is no such thing as modern science without a microscope. No such thing as modern science without a microscope. Here we see right here engraved in the wall where our Kemetic ancestors actually created and left the blueprint for microscopes and telescopes. What you see on the left of your screen is a modern diagram of what a microscope looks like. What you see in the middle section is an up-close version on what's left in the wall. You see the eye at the top, matches the eye on the side. Then you see what looks like a bread hieroglyph is actually a convex lens. That's very important because that's the thing that magnifies the image. Then beneath that, you see semen coming out of the phallus of men, the god Men. He's releasing semen. And then you see a sperm cell accurately depicted under the convex lens. Now, why that's important is because the sperm cell is the smallest cell in the human body. And there is no explanation on God's green earth how they could have got an accurate depiction of a sperm cell in Kemet without a microscope. But not only do they have the accurate depiction of the sperm cell, they actually have the accurate depiction of the microscope blueprint. So you have the eye, you have the convex lens, then you have your specimen on top of the tray. And then when you see those 3 striped lines under the tray, those 3 striped lines mean multiplicity. So what it's showing you is that when you look at the semen under the convex lens, you see a multiplicity of these semen cells or sperm cells. Just in case nobody knows what a convex lens looks like, right? Just in case nobody knows what these things look like, we want to make sure it's good and clear, right? Not only do we want to make sure it's good and clear, we want to show the proof of what the sperm looks like. Because when you see that they saw what the smallest cell in the human body looked like, that means they know what every other cell in the human body look like. If they could see the smallest one, they could see every other cell in the human body. Now, for further proof, because I know saw somewhere talking about source it up, they still have the convex lenses in the museums over there in Egypt. They got them in Paris. They got them all around, and they're inside these statues. So it's not only do we have the blueprint for the microscope, we still have the lenses. And if you want to go look it up, Unc, here's an article for you, because I know you might need an article. So here goes an article for you as well. We want to make sure that we sourcing up.
But then you just got to admit, well, you're right. Our ancestors wasn't really practicing science then, because the very rules in science that was created by science was that you can't mix your spirituality with it.
So it's important for us to understand. Now you got to look back at those things that I showed in the beginning of my round and go, wait a minute, it's not possible that they could have known those things. Yes, it is, because they invented the convex lens. They had the convex lens in the Old Kingdom. They had the convex lens in the Middle Kingdom and the New Kingdom. Convex lenses, microscopes, and telescopes is not something new to Kemet. All of our modern day discoveries in modern science has been based on the microscope and the telescope. We invented that because, not despite, because we mixed our spirituality with our science.
And I think that y'all think I'm comedic, but most of you people who know me know that I am not comedic.
To the stars, he rises tall, teaching cells how to fight, how to stand, how to brawl. In our F2, got the system on lock. Defenses is so tight, like a vault with no clock.
Cerebral waves twisting, the ventricles deep. Third eye spinning where the soul does lead. Holistic magic flows from his pen. Dr. Inky, the teacher, the best has been. He's the GOAT. He's number one, the best ever.
Like a
all right, you want to just go and review something? Let's review a little something since we got a little bit of time. You know, after I let the theme music play, then we can go back and review.
Yeah.
So
back to that article.
No, you can look it up on your time, Unc.
Oh, okay.
I want to go back to the scientific discoveries that we left to the modern science to claim. I want to go back to things like this.
But then you just.
I want to go back to things like that. I want to go back to making sure everybody get a good look at what a microscope blueprint looked like and what our ancestors left us on the wall. Because you know what your Egyptologists or your cosplay comedic buddies be saying? That's not a real penis right there for a semen sample. That's actually a vase. And they try to ignore the big whole man standing right there. So just so that, you know, the people in the chat won't be fooled by that, it's called the Hes vase, and we making sure we make it clear it's not a vase. It's actually a penis given a semen sample, because we can see it with our eyes. It's actually a clearly defined sperm cell using a convex lens, And everything is not only put in the right place, everything is not only labeled, but it's put in the right place. The eye goes where the aperture is, the convex lens goes next, the sample, what we got from the sample, the tray, and the magnifying. So we have everything here. See, this is what our ancestors called science. And what they did was they wrote it in the wall so nobody could come around and steal it or erase it later, so that their children, their children's children's children would know who did what, who created what, who wrote what. So nobody could come along later and say nothing crazy, like this.
But then you just got to admit, well, you're right. Our ancestors wasn't really practicing science then, because the very
1 minute
rules in
left.
science that was created by science was that you can't mix your spirituality with it.
And
To the stars, he rises tall, teaching cells how to fight, how to stand, how to brawl. In our F2, got the system on lock. Defenses is so tight, like a vault with no clock.
Cerebral waves twisting, the ventricles deep. Third eye spinning where the soul does lead. Holistic magic flows from his pen. Dr. Inky, the teacher, the best has been. He's the GOAT. He's number one. The best ever. Bar none.
I just want to make sure everybody can hear I'm the GOAT #1. That
We heard your closing of that. Okay, so now moving on. Okay, so we're gonna go straight in from your 2-minute rebuttal, Ankh, and then I'm gonna come in when you have 1 minute left, and yes, we can see the flyer. When you start talking, I will start your time.
Okay, so basically, this man was not on topic. Was Pangenesis the scientific portion of Charles Darwin's theory of evolution? He didn't address it nowhere near that. Did Darwin produce a scientific theory of evolution? He mentioned absolutely nothing. All right, stop my time real quick. Let me put this up. So I just want to make it for the record right here.
Where's it?
Quantum field theory versus evolution and Kepler myth. Short, clear comparison between modern science and Egyptian mythology. What is quantum field theory? A branch of physics that explains how fundamental particles and forces interact. Used in particle physics, not biology. This is a biological conversation. No role in Darwin's theory of evolution. He was all off topic. What is even evolutionary theory? Proposed by Charles Darwin, explaining species change through natural selection based on genetics, mutation, and adaptation, not quantum physics. Connection between QFT and evolution, none. Directly. Evolution does not need QFT to work. QFT is sometimes used as math tool populations models, but not in biological mechanisms itself. Man, he's a pseudo. Kepler, the Egyptian myth. Kepler, the dung beetle, symbolizes rebirth and creation, linked to the rise of the sun. Ancient Egyptians believed beetles self-generated from the dung. Egyptian symbolization and mythology, not science. Kepler explains cosmic circles, not species change. No evidence of evolutionary theory in the damn myth. Summary: QFT and evolution are separate fields. Evolution is biology, QFT is physics. Kepler myth deals with creation, not biological evolution. It's religion. The references, here's my sources. Now, let me go to my notes real fast. It's right here. So I did prove that Darwin had a comprehensive theory, right? No such thing as a complete theory. Theories are fluid. You can always add to it. It's not religion. I simply brought out the mistakes so you can understand the mistakes did not stop Darwin from producing a comprehensive theory. Science is self-correcting, okay? So our ancestors never practiced modern science. How could they practice modern science before modern science? He's a pseudo, he's twisting words, and he's officially out of control. Let me tell you this, man. Long as you live and breathe, don't you ever walk up into a debate with me with the flim, flam, bim, bam, boom, mixing quantum physics and biology. Man, you're not on topic, bro. You're nowhere near topic. You're talking quantum physics. You're talking Egyptian religion. You are not talking about Pangenesis and Charles Darwin comprehensive theory of evolution, which has never been stuck. This is why people don't understand science. They actually think science is stuck. No, not true. Not at all. So theories can be always added on. When you look at my presentation, I clearly show how theories can be added on. How in the hell was Darwin to know about modern genetics? I guess he would have did what the Egyptians did. The Egyptians knew about modern science before modern science. Maybe they had some kind of connection to the spiritual realm that went forward into the future and brought it back. It's a bunch of malarkey going on here. Now I understand what the magic trick was going to be. He going to hit you with the flim, bam, 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 boom. Mischaracterize what I said in my slides. So listen, take your time, get on the ride, because it's going to get worse. I'm going to say this again. Our ancestors didn't practice modern science. It took the steps. It took the foundation of our ancestors, right? It took the foundation of humanity to move forward. Each step they got better till they could get to the point of modern science. There is no modern science without our ancient ancestors. I never said our ancestors didn't have collectible data. I never said that. What I said was modern science, as explained, separates your spirituality from your religion. That does not mean that the spirituality is bunk, that the spirituality is mean, that they didn't have a means of getting close to understanding the natural world. I never said that. What I said was modern science. Simple as that. So you're on a pseudo train with that nonsense. I just want to make sure it's very, very clear. Scientists make mistakes all the time. That does not mean that they can't produce theories. Inky act like Darwin was supposed to know everything about everything. That's what most people think. How in the hell was he going to know about modern genetics, epigenetics? How was he supposed? You're basically saying that he's supposed to know everything about everything before it was even invented or understood. That's not how science works. Science works in steps. So the steps that Darwin brought allowed the next generation of sciences to get more information. That's why Pangenesis, paradoxically, actually enriched Charles Darwin theory. So let me get on my presentation. That's my 3 minutes. Darwin's predictions versus modern scientific proof. Why Darwin produced a scientific theory, exploring the concordance between Darwin's early scientific theory and today's scientific discoveries in evolutionary biology. Darwin's evolutionary legacy and modern validation. Darwin laid the groundwork for our understanding of evolution through groundbreaking theories, proposing species evolved over time through natural selection. Today, extensive scientific evidence, including fossil records, genetics studies, and observational data, confirm and expands upon, see the difference, expands upon Darwin's original idea, demonstrating a robustness to evolutionary theory. Darwin's predictions. And pay attention to the word predictions because theories are predictive. Scientific theories are predictive. Foundational theories of evolution. Darwin's theories establish evolution's foundation. Proposed natural selection drives species evolution, making beneficial traits more common. Revolutionize views on life origins. The voyage of the Beagle, H.M. Beagle. Darwin's H.M. Beagle voyage inspired his theories on species origin. He noted variations among species showing their role in survival adaptation. He circumnavigated the globe. This is where he collects all his scientific data. Impact on the origins of the species. Darwin on the origins of species, 1859, introduced natural selection, transforming biological sciences and integrating and igniting debates on evolution. On the origin of the species by means of natural selection, or the preservation of the favored races in the struggle for life. In this extended title and elsewhere in the book, Darwin used the biological term race, interchangeable with varieties, meaning varieties within a species. He used the term broadly and as well as discussion on several races. For instance, of cabbage and the heredity varieties of races of our domestic animals and plants. He never was talking about races of human. That's my two sources at the bottom of that.
I paused your time for you.
All right, thank you.
What's this part of his presentation?
All right, go ahead.
No, but he's queuing it up though.
Okay, we good.
It's resumed.
If not, Unc, you know, he be having little clones running around. All right, so can you see that right there on the screen, Tom?
Yes, you're up and running.
Okay. No. I just want to make sure you could see it.
Yes, I can see it.
But I want to understand, you know, going to the inception of House of Consciousness, sa.neter on 125th, you know, you out there taking pictures and videos with white folks kissing your feet and Unc being you know, I ain't going to say necessarily your right-hand man, but Unc's been around for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just trying to understand, like, how has he made it a point all these years to stick around and teach white supremacy, right? So here's the book, right? This is the actual title of the book. On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection. Now, when people are trying to hide the truth, they just leave it like that. They just say on the origin of species by means of natural selection, or they will paraphrase and just say Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. They leave this whole entire second part out. You see what that say? Or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. You heard that?
Mm-hmm.
This is the white supremacist Bible. This is the white supremacist Bible. This is the science that backed any and all justification for what Black folks would experience throughout the rest of, you know, the 1800s going into the 1900s.
That's an outright lie. That man doesn't even understand that that book is the foundation of modern biology, evolutionary biology. Has nothing to do with racism. It wasn't talking about race. So how can we expect him to even understand the topic if he can't get past the title of the damn book? Confirmation of Darwin's predictions. Modern science has confirmed Darwin's predictions through extensive research and fossil discoveries. This evidence validates evolutionary theory and showcases the reliability of Darwin's initial hypothesis about the species' evolution. Transitional fossil evidence. The discovery of transitional fossil evidence, okay, like Archaeopteryx and Tiktaalik, has proven tangible links between major evolutionary groups, supporting the gradual change concept proposed by Darwin. Genetic evidence in common ancestry, genetic studies, including the explanation of Hox genes, reveal deep evolutionary connections amongst diverse species, confirming Darwin's idea of shared ancestry amongst relative organisms. So I'm confirming his predictions. Biographical confirms predictions. Biographical studies show that species distribute aligns with Darwin's predictions, where island species closely resemble those of the nearest continent, exemplified by Darwin's finches. Darwin's prediction. Darwin predicted that gradual evolution would yield transitional fossils, linking major organisms and showcasing species changing over time. Modern proof. Modern science has validated Darwin's predictions with significant discoveries of transitional fossils. Notable examples include Archaeopteryx, which illustrates the transition from dinosaurs to birds. Tetralek, crucial link between fish and trapezopods, and Australopithecus afarensis, an early hominid providing evidence for human evolution. So there's the prediction, there's the modern proof. Darwin's predictions shared anatomical structures. Darwin posited species with common ancestors would display similarities in their physical structure, known as Homo malleus. Once again, Darwin posited that species, common ancestors would display similarities in physical structure. This is important. We talk about the human arm, the cat arm, and the whale arm. We talk about the one bone that connects to the shoulder. One bone, two bones, three bones in humans. Same in cats. One bone, two bone, three bones in cats. Same in whales. One bone, two bone, three bones in whales. Same with the bat wing. One bone, two bones, three bones. Modern proof of genetic evidence of ancestry. Modern scientific discoveries support Darwin's prediction through the identification homologous structures such as forelimbs found in vertebrates. Additionally, conserved Hox genes indicate deep genetic connections across different species, further confirming the theory of common ancestry. Darwin's prediction on biogeography. Darwin observed that isolated species like those of Galapagos share traits with mainland relatives due to adaptive radiation evolution. Modern proof of biographical evidence. We can see here by these finches, and we see the different sizes in their beaks. Although they was on different islands, they still shared common ancestry, and you see the different sizes in their beaks actually shows the modern proof. Okay, modern research supports Darwin's prediction. Extensive evidence, notably the finches, exhibit adaptive radiation showcasing different environmental pressures can lead to evolutionary diverse species from a common ancestor. Darwin's prediction, vestigial structures. Darwin predicted that through the process of evolution, organisms would retain vestigial structures, body parts that have lost their original function over time. This reflects their ancestry and changes that have occurred through evolutionary theory. Vestigial organisms atavisms. Modern proof. Real world examples. Visceral organs in humans include goosebumps, stress reflex, and pelvises, ancestor. Okay, this is pivotal what we talked about. Atavisms, human traits, extra toes in horses. Darwin's prediction on embryological development. Now, embryos of related species share traits, indicating common ancestor. This suggests all vertebrates evolved from a common ancestor, despite species divergence. Develop modern proof. Here's the proof now of his prediction. Modern proof of common development features. Scientific research supports Darwin's predictions, common origin seen in vertebrate embryos. Tails of mammals, birds, and fish. Hox gene reflects deep evolutionary connections. Darwin's prediction, gradual evolution. Darwin gradualism. Evolution occurs slowly over time through small inherited changes. Gradualism versus variegation. See, right here we have the bones of the fossil of a horse. Comparative research, especially in long-term E. coli experiment by Richard Leakski, has provided direct evidence for real-time evolution demonstrating how variation leads to adaptive change. Fossil records of horses also illustrate gradual morphological transitions over millions of years, supporting Darwin's theory of evolution. Darwin's prediction. He predicted that humans would originate in Africa and continent where our closest living relatives, the great apes, are also found. This idea was based in geographical distribution of a species and evolutionary connections observed between humans and apes. Modern proof. The fossil record and the genetics prove that humans evolved in Africa first. The summary of the evidence: testable evolution prediction, transitional fossil identified, homogeneous structure evidence, homogeneous, my fault, let me get this right, homologous structures. It's a biographical patterns observed, visual traits demonstrated, embryology links established, gradualism and evolution demonstrated, human origins traced back to Africa. Charles Darwin observed diverse species in different environments. He formulated ideas based on natural selection and adaptation. These ideas led to the development of his scientific theory. Scientific theories have predictive powers. Understanding Darwin's unified theory of life helps us appreciate both the interconnectedness of all species and the principles of evolution that continue to guide scientific research. Darwin's theory posits that all life forms share common ancestry created by a vast tree of life that explains the diversity and similarities in the species through evolution and natural selection. The fact that his theory had predictive powers proved it was a scientific theory. Can you stop my time? I'm switching over, please. Thank you.
I was still paused until you're ready.
Okay.
You actually have 2 more minutes.
Damn, man, that's why I see that was crazy right there. You supposed to let me know that was crazy. That killed me right there. For the moment, did Pangenesis overturn Darwin's scientific theory? The introduction to Charles Darwin theory of evolution, we've already talked about what that was. Overview of Pangenesis. Pangenesis proposed by Charles in 1868, posits that small particles called germinals produced by cells in organisms. It says, germinal definition. Germinals, tiny hereditary particles proposed by Darwin, are responsible for traits. Heredity, information transition. Heredity, information transfers from parents to offspring. Intercellular communication. Intercellular communication is how cells influence each other. Key in Pangenesis. Darwin's perspective on Pangenesis. I'm going to have to pass that. I'm going to get right to it. Scientific reception of Pangenesis. It says Pangenesis was introduced by Charles Darwin in 1868. 1870, provisional hypothesis, initial garnered interest and support in the scientific community. Late 19th century skepticism grew as more evidence against Pangenesis were mounted. Let's keep moving. Critique on Pangenesis, limited experimental validation, conflicts with genetic inheritance, and misconception and heredity. Impact on Darwin's theory. Understand how Pangenesis influenced evolution of genetics through the perception of Darwin's work. Initial acceptance of Pangenesis, okay, shift toward Mendelian genetics. Mendelian principles gained traction. Pangenesis fell out of favor, leading to a paradigm shift in genetics. So that actually helped us move to genetics. Reevaluation of Darwin's ideas. Critique Pangenesis prompted a deeper explanation of Darwin's theory and integrating new ideas. Legacy and ongoing discussion. Pangenesis, despite rejection, continued to inspire research and connection. Did she say stop?
1 minute. Mute up, please,
man. Yeah, come on. You got to stop my time. That was ridiculous.
Your time is paused. You have a minute.
You're not supposed to be jumping there like that, man.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to give you a little bit more time. Not a lot, so don't freak out, Inky. He had 40 seconds left. I'm giving a whole minute. You have a minute left.
All right. Modern interpretation and relevance of Pangenesis. revisiting pangenesis and epigenetics. All right, we're gonna get on that round next. Exploring cell communication. We're gonna get on that. Let me get the right here. Let me get the right here. Hold on. Yeah, conclusion. Did pangenesis overturn Darwin? While pangenesis introduced a new perspective on heredity, it ultimately did not replace Darwin's theory of evolution. Instead, it revealed limitations in scientific understanding of genetics and inheritance, promoting a deeper investigation and eventual emergence of modern genetics. Darwin's pangenesis theory has sparked debate and research. Let me keep moving. Pangenesis legacy. Nope. Let me get right here. Let me get right here. Nope. Engaging discussion. Nope. I'm gonna finish. There you go. So hold on. I still got time. I can read that. Engaging in discussion. Okay. All right. I'm gonna talk about that in my last round. So I just want to make this clear, right? Under no circumstance, while pangenesis introduced a novel concept of heredity information flow, it ultimately did not replace Darwin's theory of evolution. Instead, it highlighted the complexities of heredity, leading to new research areas in genetics and cell communication. Remember I told y'all the science is counterintuitive? Yes, it is. So no, pangenesis never overturned Charles Darwin theory of evolution.
Time. Okay, thank you very much. Inky, going into your round, this is the second half of the second round. Going into this, do you want to just flow straight through, or you want me to let you know when your 2-minute rebuttal is up?
No. I'm good. I want to flow right through.
Got it. So I will let you know at 21 minutes that you have 1 minute left. Your time starts when you start.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up.
This is his rebuttal, right?
We got this. Yes, honey.
Yeah, we got this.
All right.
Oh, wait, can the people see me on the screen?
I will let you know. Nothing. We don't
Yes,
see you
we
at
can
all.
see you on the screen.
Okay,
No,
good.
we see sa.neter's name. We do not see your
No,
share.
I see him on the screen.
No.
I want the people to be able to see this. My daughter just.
Now we see you. Yes.
Okay, good. My daughter just made this book. Well, my daughter just made this book. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's proof of what I'm saying right there, because her daddy writes books, she writes books, and little science books right there. That's very, very solid proof right there of what I'm talking about. If we show them that it's in their blood, they will keep it going. She literally did this on the spot. I couldn't have planned this better.
That's beautiful. Your time's going to start when you start.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be back at 21 minutes until you have a minute left. And whenever you start, your time starts.
Unc, that was crazy. That was crazy, Unc. That was so crazy. I had to actually grab some pictures actually from your presentation. Now, you showed this in your presentation right here. I just want the people in the audience to ask themselves, is your appendix a vestigial organ? Is your thymus gland a vestigial organ? Is your tonsils a vestigial organ? Is your pineal gland a vestigial organ? Because many people, thousands, maybe into the millions, were mutilated based on Darwin's theory that these were vestigial organs, and doctors just cut them out of people. Now we're finding out that the pineal gland is responsible for converting serotonin to melatonin, and melatonin is responsible for protecting you from cancer, amongst other things. Now we know your thymus gland has a big role in your immune system. Think about all the people who had their immune system stripped out of their body because of Darwin's prediction. That's crazy. So when you have a bad scientific model, your predictions fail. Just like all the people that got their thymus and pineal, they got their brain cut open, lobotomies and all kind of foolishness based on Darwin's theory. Good scientific models are quite contrary to the different there, Unc. So I just want you to know your first round you spent explaining why Darwin did not have a complete theory. Your second round, you just committed harikari. You just committed suicide on yourself. So this round here, we're going to concentrate, instead of concentrating on Unc, We're going to actually concentrate on Darwin eating his own words because Unc done already ate his own words. I just hope he has some hot sauce. But now we're going to move to Darwin eating his own words. I want y'all to pay attention to this picture right here. Look at this picture right here. This goes to show the architecture of, wait a minute, that's not Kemet. That's actually a motherboard. See, this is the intelligence that our ancestors had. The temple architecture matches the actual architecture that we use today in modern computers. See, this is what I'm saying here when you get these Kemetic cosplay guys that's named Unc and also God Killer. See, that's what I'm talking about. Now, Charles Darwin said, along with, so Unc, I want you to make sure that since, you haven't provided any sources, I'm going to provide sources. I'm going to let Darwin speak. Darwin said there seems to be no more design in the variability of organic beings and in the action of natural selection than in the course which the wind blows. You got that? No more design than in the course which the wind blows. That's Darwin's words. And just for you, Sa, make sure we sourced it up. There go the source right there. Y'all can look up the source later on. And here we go, Unc.
I'm a line, I'm a rhythm in time, a beat in my chest is a number divine.
All right, I'm trolling. I have a right to. You remember this joint?
I'm a circle, I'm a line, I'm a rhythm in time. My chest, it's a number divine. Fire in my veins, spirals in my bones, a map of creation written in my tone. We're living mad, can't you see? Numbers dancing in you and me, from the roofs to the skies above. Proof of a maker, a design of love.
Come on, Unc. Look, you had this in your first round, Unc. Don't forget, you put this in your first round. This is your slide. It said, express mathematically. Many scientific laws can be expressed mathematically, allowing for precise predictions of natural phenomena. This mathematical representation is crucial. It's crucial. Huh, Unc? What you said, Unc? Unc. It might taste better. Your words might taste better if you put a little hot sauce. Black folks, we like hot sauce. Darwin said there is no more design and variation in selection than in the course the wind blows. Our bodies are living math, pi and circular anatomy and rhythmic phase, Euler's number in growth and metabolic waste, powers of 2 in doubling and half-life clocks, square root of 2 in branch and load sharing, square root of 3 in hexagonal packing of tissues, phi, the golden number, and the square root of 5 in efficient spirals and proportion, Fibonacci sequence numbers and packing choices that minimize energy costs. These are not the footprints of aimless gusts of wind. They're grammar of design constraints, optimum shapes, minimal edges, stable rhythms. If your claim, Unc, is no design, then show lawless random wind turns math into form, timing and function, from cells to systems. Intelligence is math function, representation, prediction, control, and error correction. The human body does all 4 in mathematical form. Metabolism follows Euler's number in growth and decay and uses feedback control to hold glucose. The pH, 7.365, which matches the days in a week and days in a year. And temperature at set points, control theory, cell division, memory decay, pharmacokinetics run on Powers of 2 half-life clocks. That's predictive timing. Vessels and airways use the square root of 2 branch laws, and the golden number and Fibonacci spirals minimize work and dead space in the body. This is variational optimization. Epithelia and photoreceptor mosaics use the square root of 3 hexagons to optimize tiling. Gene splicing and chromatin behave like layered codes with redundancy and proofreading, error correcting computation. This is not random. It's algorithmic structure implementing goals. The goals are to survive, repair, and reproduce under time constraints. Living math is the operational definition of intelligence. This is an intelligence model based on control with quantifiable invariance. Write all that down, just in case. Because I know your man Darwin said there's no design. Darwin said variation and selection show no more design in the wind. Let's go further. Let's get to the DNA. Large-scale AI systems expose how hollow that is. Every functioning AI stack has layered anatomy, a tokenizer, an architecture for grammar transformations, a training regimen that writes parameters, persistent memory, a runtime inference engine, and an operations layer. Biology mirrors that one for one. Yes, AI programs come from DNA programs. Your DNA alphabet and codon is the same as the tokenizer. Your ribosomes, tRNAs, and AARS equals the translation, grammar, and execution. Development and evolution equals the long and short-term optimization. Your genome, epigenome, and proteome equal persistent state transcription, splicing, and translation, which equals runtime. And signaling ATP economies, which is your quality and your control in your compartments for operations. In both domains, interpreters are central. Without a tokenizer and a code runner, symbols are just noise. I know that was a whole lot, so I'll go back to some music and some pictures in a second for you. We know when we look at AI in the human body, one of these two systems was intelligently engineered because we engineered it. And the other one exhibits the same modular dependencies. So, until you can specify a blind stepwise mechanism that co-originates a code and an interpreter, show a working partial where the runtime executes meaningful programs without a full interpreter, beat control and coding models at predicting the observed constraints. Until those tests are met, calling biology random like the wind confuses lawless drift with law-driven. Law-driven, like the Bible said, like our ancestors said, law-driven. Interpreter-centric computation. The architecture is the evidence. Two nearly identical stacks, one design, one said to be an accident. Now, we got more words for Darwin to eat. If it could be demonstrated that any organ existed which could not possibly be formed by numerous successive slight modifications, my theory would break down. You can go ahead and source that up. Here's the citation. Unc, I know you looking up stuff on the fly over there. Did y'all notice that Unc chat GPT, the presentation in the middle of this on Kepler? Just saying. So now we have the electricity inside the heart. It's called the QRST complex. It's very important. The heart is a controlled loop with 4 interlocking parts. The clock, which is the SA node, the AV, which is your delay. Your AV node is your delay. It inserts a brief pause so the atria finish filling the ventricles. Without it, the ventricles would fire too soon and you would get, your heart would fail. Then you have a bus. This is your Purkinje network, which rapidly distributes the electric wave throughout both ventricles. Without it, activation is slow and desynchronized, weakening the squeeze. Then you also have to have insulation to make sure that the electricity fires perfectly in the right direction, or you have arrhythmia, and of course that leads to heart failure. So, piece by piece, same as a computer. Your clock, which is your SA node, is just like a laptop's timing. It comes from a crystal oscillator. Your body is designed that way. That's why we have piezoelectric tissues. Then you have your AV node. Computers insert intentional delays to keep order, the same way your heart works. Then you have your Purkinje fibers, which is your bus line. This is your wiring that distributes the command or the electricity all at once. Then you have your insulation. It's called your annulus fibers. These are your dielectrics and your solder mask on the PCB, the same as a computer. This is how your heart works. So it's not possible to have this level of architecture in your heart and it be random or a mistake. I'm sure you didn't read that part of his book, Unc. I know you must have missed that. It's okay, because again, you said in your first round, Darwin didn't have any knowledge of genetics and everything, so he couldn't know any of this information. So, irreducible complexity, a complex organ which cannot possibly be formed by numerous successive slight modifications.
Words in my chest, they hum and glow. How did they know just where to go? Circuits like veins, they spark and flow. A rhythm so perfect, no chance could so. Oh, it beats too smooth, too fine to be a random design. This electric heartbeat, too sharp, too sweet, not made by mistake. No chaos could create this electric
All right, so just so you can see it, this is the architecture inside your heart. So Darwin wasn't aware of this. That's your SA node where the electricity comes from at the top left corner. And then right there, you see the AV node, and the yellow you see there, the golden you see is the Purkinje fibers, right? Here's a better view so you can see it up close and personal. This electric architecture in your heart completely dismantles Darwin, and not by my words, not by your words, but by Darwin's own words, because I'm sure you missed that when you read Darwin's book. You missed where Darwin actually put in his book how his theory would fall apart. So this is also a prediction that Darwin made that came true, Unc. The prediction Darwin made was when we found things about the human body that he couldn't understand, his theory would fall apart. And guess what, Unc? We accurately found things in the human body that he had no idea about. Just like the thymus gland that you said and Darwin said was vestigial, but people cannot live without it, without a full immune system, Unc. Just like the pineal gland, people cannot live without these things for a full immune system, Unc. Just like the appendix, which we know completes the immune system along with the tonsils, all of these things and more, Darwin predicted. So when are you going to start giving Darwin credit, Unc, for all of the predictions that he made that came true that actually debunk his theory? Here's the fiber. Here's the fiber. If there was no fiber, let's take a look at these 4 items. If there's no fiber on that electrical wiring, just so you know, the heart fails. So Darwin gave us his trigger. If it could be demonstrated that any complex organ existed which could not have been formed by numerous successive slight modifications, my theory would absolutely break down. A vertebrae heartbeat is a controlled loop, clock, delay, bus, insulation. Subtract any one and the heart fails. It isn't pumping in a vacuum either. Your heart is stabilizing a moving electrical medium, blood, whose magnetic properties shift with each breath. So those 4 modules must be co-designed to create your QRST wave. Evolutionary biologists, where is your falsifiable sequence? Right? We want to know, where's the falsifiable sequence? You have no step-by-step pathway. So when you're over there Googling to take notes, try to see if you could pull up the step-by-step pathway, or try to see if you can grab all of the step-by-step intermediates in your fossil record, Or you can find the origin for the fibrous insulation, because you won't find them. There's also no ordered sequence for chamber partitioning in the fossil record or the genetic record. There's no reconstruction for the Purkinje system in the genetic record or the fossil record. Your homology isn't history. Embryos aren't origins. By Darwin's own criteria, until you show ordered advantageous intermediates, meaning if you show a heart in another organism that doesn't have all these things, you have to show how it gave an advantage to that species in order to be passed on to the next. Because any heart that's missing any of these components will not function properly. So that, by Darwin's law, would not pass on to the next generation, because only things with advantages for the environment. And any heart that's less efficient doesn't give advantages. In fact, when the animals are running from the lion who's getting ready to bite into their butt cheeks, the one with the weak heart is lunch meat. Just in case you didn't know, So, by Darwin's own criteria, until each rung has been settled without lethality, that means that any change does not destroy the organism, the claim fails here. That is Darwin's standard. Darwin set that standard. The heart, irreducibly complex, and Darwin must eat his own words. Now, like I said, I know you're doing quick chat GPTs over there, and then you look up something in chat GPT and say, make a presentation of it. So we see that plain blue background with the white letters you keep pulling up. Make sure when you Google the next one, you do what I asked you and show the step-by-step pathway or the fossil record that shows all the selectable intermediates. Don't pull up no fast, quick copy and paste like you've been doing so far for the first 2 rounds. I'm just saying. Just saying. So we have Darwin eating his words here. And then, of course, you know what comes next, huh?
To the stars, he rises tall, teaching cells how to fight, how to stand, how to brawl. In our F2, got the system on lock. Defenses is so tight, like a vault with no clock.
Cerebral waves twisting, the ventricles deep. Third eye spinning where the soul does lead. Holistic magic flows from his pen. Dr. Inky, the teacher, the best has been. He's the GOAT. He's number one. The best ever.
Like a galaxy inside, regulates the rhythm, keeps the soul in stride. From 158 to the world he preaches, dropping knowledge like beats his wisdom teaches.
Lungs breathe true, cells light the fire. Every word he speaks lifts you higher and higher. Alchemy in motion, he's the healer of men. Dr. Inky's the answer again and again. He's the GOAT. He's number one, the best ever.
Let's see that two-step. Come on.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Inky. And we're coming into our final 3rd round. I will say this too. Thank you, Inky. I would like to say with Ankh, what we're going to do, because of your rebuttal, you have a choice. You can do your 2-minute rebuttal, adding that to what I'm trying to say, you can get 4 minutes. Get it? Because you didn't have a rebuttal at the beginning. You only got 21 minutes. So you can do either 4 extra, your extra 4 minutes with your 20, or you can wait for Inky to do his last round and come in and do a 2-minute
What happened?
rebuttal.
What happened again?
All right. In the beginning, you got 21. Well, actually, you just got 20 minutes. So you have 2 minutes extra. So at the end of this, you have two choices. You can start your round and get an extra total 4 minutes, which is your 2-minute rebuttal plus your 2 minutes. Or you can do your 2-minute rebuttal now, do your 20 minutes, and wait for Inky to do his last round and come in and do a 2-minute rebuttal.
All right, I'll do it that way. Let me get 2 minutes now and then 2 minutes later.
And I will let you know when your 2 minutes are up.
All right,
and you go into your 20 minutes. Okay, let me know when you're ready.
I'm not ready yet. So let me pull this up. And sa.neter, where's sa.neter at?
sa.neter?
Neter, where you at? sa.neter, I want you to check your email. I sent something to you. It's a handout. And I want you to send that to people's emails. These are the sources that I have compiled for my debate. Everything is all sourced up. This particular round right here is going to be all the sources used to verify and identify evolution. So I'm ready to start. What I do want to start off right here, though, before you start the clock, I would like to actually start. Did you check the email, right, Sal?
Not yet.
Okay, you're not going to check it?
I'll check it now.
All right, so the people know I'm sending them the sources, the handouts for everybody. That's for everybody. That's how we doing it. All right.
All right, I see it.
Okay, you seen it. Okay. All right.
Are we just chatting it up? I want to know.
Inky,
come on,
you should be on mute, brother.
You should be on mute right now, bro.
I thought we was having free talk just now.
No, be on mute, Inky. That's all.
Ain't this in between the round? We just talking?
Okay, so this is my rebuttal round. I'm going to rebut this. So first of all, can y'all see the screen right here? So this is what he's using. He's using that intelligent design argument. Intelligent design is a pseudoscientific argument for the existence of God presented by proponents of an evidence-based scientific theory. Okay, presented by its proponents as an evidence-based scientific theory. So he's already using it. How do we know he's using it? Because we got him, coach. Put me in the game. He's using irreducible complexity versus Darwin's theory. First of all, he's not even on topic. We know what the debate is. It's Pangenesis, the scientific portion of Charles Darwin argument, and then Charles Darwin produced a scientific theory. He ain't touched that yet. But irreducible complexity and Darwin evolution is say the claim. Irreducible complexity. Intelligent design advocates argue some systems are too complex to have evolved gradually. Often cited examples vertebrates, heartbeat, and cardiac conduction systems. That's what he talked about, right? It's the claim. Removing one part breaks the system. Therefore, it could not have evolved step by step. This is used to challenge Darwin's statement of complex organs. Darwin's statement, if it could be demonstrated that any complex organ existed, which cannot possibly have seen formed by numerous successive slight modifications by theory, would absolutely break down. Now watch this. My theory absolutely break down. Watch this. Then Darwin on Order of Species, 1859. This was a scientific challenge, not a damn loophole. Science then, intermediate evolutionary stages have been, documented extensively. So now they have documented it extensively, okay? Now, stepwise evolution of the heart, okay? Tourniquet simple, what is this? Percellate pump, okay? Jawless fish, two-chamber heart with basic conductions, early vibrates, compartmentalization of primitive noids, mammals and birds, okay? Fibers, advanced conduction systems. Why is irreducible complexity claims fail? Modern functions, original evolutionary functions, intermediate stages can be functional but simple. Comparative anatomy and embryology reveal these steps. Legal and scientific consensus, irreducible complexity is not science. This was demonstrated at the Dover trial, okay?
Your rebuttal time is up. You're going into your 20.
Scientific evidence support heart evolution. And here is my sources right there. So he made that up and he flim-flammed right out the damn gate. All right, stop it. I'm transitioning. Here we go. Pseudoscience all the way. You gotta stop my time because hold on, let me see. All right, let me get my thing together here. Oh man, see, can y'all see it?
No. Yes, yes. Time begins now.
Okay, clock starts now. All right. All right, here we go. Okay, scientific publications supporting evolutionary theory, exploring an extensive body of research and consensus of evolutionary biology. Here's the sources you was asking for. Understanding evolutionary theory, a cornerstone of biology, explains life diversity via natural selection, genetic drift, and mutation, unifies biological fields, insight into adaptation and speciation. Estimated number of evolutionary related publications in 2025. The volume of peer-reviewed research reflects the strength and contemporary relevance of evolutionary biology. We got 5 million sources on Google Scholar. I suggest y'all use it. We got another 1,500,000 on PubMed. Okay? We got 102,000 on Web of Science. Okay? Let's get that straight. 180,000, look at that, 180,000. What are we doing here? On Corpus. 45,000 in the Journal of Nature. 40,000 in Science. 30,000 Proceedings of the Royal Society. 50,000 on PNAS. 20,000 Evolutionary Society, Study of Evolution. 15,000 Trends in Ecology and Evolution. Thousands upon thousands. Major scientific journals in evolutionary biology. Nature, a high-impact journal. Nature is renowned for publishing high-impact multidisciplinary studies that often include scientific contributions to evolutionary biology, making it a leading journal in the field. Science, interdisciplinary research. Science Mag is a major interdisciplinary journal that publishes groundbreaking research across various fields, including pivotal studies in evolution, genetics, and ecology that shape scientific understanding. The Proceedings of the Royal Society B, focused research. Proceedings of the Royal Society B, key platform for evolutionary ecological research. PNAS, broad evolutionary studies, publishes key studies in evolutionary biology and genetics, okay, impacting multiple scientific fields. Evolutionary flagship journal, evolutionary journal hub for all things evolutionary biology. Trends in ecology and evolutionary conceptual advances. Trends in ecology and evolution is known for its synthesis of conceptual advances in innovative research, making it a vital resource for understanding contemporary evolutionary dynamics. Significance of scientific publication in evolutionary biology. Extensive empirical evidence. Numerous studies validate evolutionary concepts, offering unique insights and strengthening of the theory empirical foundation. They're always trying to make the theories better, and they always strengthening them. They do not stop. Interdisciplinary connections. Evolutionary biology connects with genetics, ecology, and paleontology, fostering a collaboration of innovation theories to explain complex biological phenomenon. Foundational role in science. Evolutionary biology is vital for science, offering insight for conservation, medicine, and biodiversity, essential for tackling global challenges. If you didn't have a theory, you couldn't use it for all these things. Makes no sense. Key fields contributing to evolutionary research. Genomic and molecular evolution. Genomic and molecular evolution analyze genetic sequences and variations, trace lineages, understand mutation and natural selection, insight into evolutionary processes, paleontology and fossils. Fossils provide evidence of past species and evolutionary transitions, highlighting adaptation and extinctions. Comparative anatomy and developmental biology. Comparative anatomy and developmental biology explore anatomical similarities, differences, emphasizing common ancestry and evolutionary development. Population genetics and ecology. Population genetics and ecology examining genetic compositions and environmental effects on evolution. They model trait distribution and changes over time due to natural selection and genetic drift. Medical, all right, and epidemiological evolution. Medical and epidemiological evolution studies the impact of evolution on health, pathogens, evolution, and drug resistance, essential for disease understanding and medical innovation. So you do not understand diseases without understanding it through evolution. Broad scientific consensus on evolutionary theory. The consensus among scientists regarding evolutionary theory is not just a matter of opinion. It is supported extensive research and verification from numerous fields. Recognized institutions such as the National Academy of Science and the Royal Society endorse evolution as the foundational principle of biological science, affirming the robustness and relevance in understanding the diversity of life. Scientific consensus on evolution is widespread, as well established and recognized by leading scientific institutions globally. The National Academy of Science, Royal Society, and American Association of the Advancement of Science affirms that evolutionary theory is the foundational to biology. Richard Dawkins has famously stated, the fact of evolution is as well supported as the fact that the earth orbits the sun, for some of y'all. This underscores the robust nature of the evidence supporting evolutionary theory, reinforcing its role as the cornerstone of modern scientific understanding. The scientific consensus of evolution, classical foundation of evolutionary theory, Darwin's groundbreaking insight, natural selection principles outlined, human evolution explored, synthesis on evolutionary thought, key contributions in molecular evolution and population genetics. This is based off his theory. Molecular rate variation studies, population genetic model, natural theory implications, selection and adaptation studies, genetic diversity assessments, conceptual advancements evolutionary theory. Genetical evolutionary in behavior, game theory in evolution, selfish gene concept, phylogenetics and comparative methods, phylogenetics analysis techniques, importance of comparative methods, application in evolutionary studies software, phylogenetic analysis, integration in genomic data, Evo-Devo, adaptation and speciation, Evo-Devo bridges evolution, development, adaptation, diversity, speciation occurs through reproduction, isolation, key concepts in Evo-Devo evolution, human evolution and genomics. Neanderthal genomic insight. We wouldn't be able to do that without understanding evolution and Charles Darwin theory of evolution. Hominid evolution connection, impact on modern humans, ancient population migration, evolution, adaptation studies, the vital role of evolutionary theory in science and its future. Evolutionary theory is not only foundational to biology, but also enhances the understanding of diverse scientific fields, including medicine, ecology, genetics, as research processes. Future directions will likely focus on integrating genomic data, understanding species, integrations, and changing environments, and addressing challenges such as climate change and antibiotic resistance can only be understood through Charles Darwin evolution. Here's my sources. This side presents a comprehensive list of references that underpin the constant discussion throughout this presentation. It includes essential classical works, significant contributions to molecular evolution, key conceptual advances in the field, and pivotal studies of variation domains and evolutionary research. All right, can you stop my time? I'm transitioning. Please, I appreciate you. Transitioning. Global scientific consensus on evolution. So it's a global scientific consensus examining the worldview affirmation of evolution as the core of biological seen by national and international scientific bodies.
Time out, brother. You know your screen ain't sharing.
Oh, it's not?
Let me
No.
pull up at least
There
one.
you go.
Oh, shoot. I thought it was sharing.
I can see it.
Yeah, you took it down.
Because right now, people going to have their opinions, but it's going to be a large amount of people that's going to see this, and they're going to take this as, oh, Inky, you was BS and woo-woo. But most of the people, they're going to be like, yo, Unc was scared. He called in and said, nice to see I'm debunking modern biology. Or how did he say that? What was his exact words?
He said he would like to see you debunk modern.
Right. Okay. Right. That's one of those mind games that Unc plays. See, that's why he hang up the phone real quick. Because my question was going to be right there. I was going to ask him, what connection does Charles Darwin's theory have to modern biology?
Why don't you tell us?
There is none. There is no connection of Charles Darwin's theory to modern biology.
Yeah, y'all heard that statement. Crazy as hell. Introduction to evolution as a unifying framework. Unifying what? Unifying biology. All biology on planet Earth. But this man doesn't know that. Let's go. We cooking them with hot grease. Globally, scientific organizations and national academies endorse Charles Darwin theory of evolution and the modern synthesis as the cornerstone. I said it's the cornerstone of modern biological science. This theory serves as a cohesive framework that integrates findings from various disciplines, including genetics, paleontology, geology, highlighting the interconnectedness of life and biological processes. Why is Charles Darwin work on evolution a scientific theory? Explains diversity in life. Darwin's theory of evolution explains the vast diversity of life on Earth. It illustrates the processes by which species adapt to their environment. Natural selection serves as the driving mechanism for change. Species evolve over generations to better survive. This framework underlines the interconnectedness of all life forms. Supported by fossil records. Fossil records support evolution, evidence of species change, history of life on Earth, transitional forms, understanding biodiversity and adaptation. Corroborated by genetic evidence. So now we have genetic evidence for evolution. DNA shows genetic variation. Variations fuel evolution. Mutations add diversity. Genetics deepens evolutionary insight. Framework for biological processes. Darwin's theory, foundational for biology, explains adaptation, speciation, and ecological interactions, essential for understanding biodiversity. You would not understand biodiversity without Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. Darwin's multifaceted scientific contributions to botany and geology. Darwin's impact beyond natural selection, key contributions in botany and geology. Sexual selection theory. Darwin's sexual selection traits evolved through mate choice, enhances our understanding of evolution. Emotions in animals. Darwin's studies of emotions in animals reveal key insight into behavioral biology, highlighting evolutionary links between humans and animals. National academies and intergovernmental networks. Inter-academic partnerships involvement. U.S. National Academy influence. Royal Society legacy. Man. Geophysical union role, geological social contributions, international scientific unions, key role in evolution, fostering global collaboration, promoting scientific advocacy, developing educational resources, facilitating research publications. This is around the world. Professional science societies, key role in evolution, advocacy for evolutionary education, research funding, opportunities, network for professionals, publishing scientific findings, promoting interdisciplinary collaboration, consensus statements and resources, science, evolution, and creationism. That's what he's talking about over there. He's trying to sell you intelligent design, which is another word for creationism. Detailed report from the National Academy of Science Institute of Medicine highlights strong scientific support for evolution, tackling misconceptions, a key resource for educators and policymakers. Voice of Evolution, resources from the National Center of Science Education, tools and strategies for accurate evolution education. We need accurate evolution education, not the religion he's trying to teach over there. Emphasizes teaching science with evidence to counter creationism misinformation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a debate between a creationist religious person and somebody that's advocating science. African scientific support of evolution. Now we're trying to dumb down our ancestors. African scientific support. African national academies and regional scientific networks play a vital role in promoting and understanding and teaching evolution. This is what they do on the continent. The endorsement of the Inter-Academic Partnership 2006 statement on the teaching of evolution highlights the commitment to evidence-based science education across the damn continent of Africa. Don't let him take you back to the religious space age. The African National Academies, the IAP signatures, it says ASSAF promotes evolutionary education. AAS supports science initiatives. Uganda, the National Academy Advocates of Science. Nigeria, the Academy fosters research and collaboration. Sudan, Academy promotes evidence-based education. Egypt, Academy collaborates the evolutionary research. Zimbabwe, Academy supports the biodiversity studies. Senegal, Academy engages in scientific outreach. Tanzania, academic fosters scientific education. Ghana, academic promotes research collaboration. Kenya, academic involves youth in science. Mozambique, academic engages in conservation efforts. Africa is in science.
All right, family. Y'all know we got another hour and a half to go before I put up the poll. Y'all see this is a powerful debate between Unc and Dr. Inky, but I don't see no love given. I don't see nobody sharing the love. This is why I make my debates paid for, because when I put it up and ask for donations, y'all don't support. So here's the link inside the chat. I'm giving it to you. Make me want to give it all to you all the time. Ebony don't never donate, but she's right there. I see you, Ebony. I never see your name. Show some love. Stop being like that. Show some love. You always here getting this knowledge. I know I'm sorry to call you out, but sometimes I got to call you suckers out because y'all don't show no love. You here gobbling up the information. I'm not calling you suckers. I'm saying those who don't show no support and no love. Donate. Donate to the channel. Thanks, Sar. Yeah, Ebony, I'm going to give you a shout out. You know that. I'm going to give you a shout out. But y'all going to have to show some love sometime, man. Shit, you know, I got another powerful debate coming up with Unc. I mean, not with Unc, with Jabari. And yes, Tahuti. They talking behind the scenes. So they're going to get it right. And I know y'all going to want to see that. So make me want to give it to you. You know, show some support, man. The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. $5, $10, $20. Come on, Unc. Let the people know. Show some love. Show some support, Unc. Show them. You be the first one to donate, Unc. And Unc, did you get that other debate? Did you get that vaccine debate? Did you get that, Unc? Did you get that vaccine debate, Unc?
He going back to ancient Egypt mythology when the Egyptians themselves right now are practicing science. Pan-African and regional scientific networks. Yes, Pan-African and regional scientific networks promote scientific collaboration, supports regional research initiative, enhances science education access, fosters innovation in science, facilitate policies and advocacy, discipline specific African scientific organization, focus on biological anthropology, promotes human genetic research, fosters archaeological exploration, supports biodiversity initiative, official actions, and education policies. Endorsement of the IAP statement. The endorsement of the 2006 Inter-Academic Partnership statement showcases the commitment of African academies to promote evolution as a key component of scientific education across the continent. You can definitely go to African museums in Africa and they're promoting quote unquote evolution and still talking about their damn creation stories. You can do both. Exclusion in national curriculum. See what I'm saying? Incorporating evolution into national curricula of Kenya, South Africa, Ghana emphasizes the recognition of evolution as an essential part of the scientific education, reflecting a broader commitment to scientific literacy.
1 minute.
ASS Symposium on Evolution. The Academy of Science in South Africa plays a pivotal role in advocating scientific discourse by hosting symposiums focused on paleoscience, evolution, and enhancing amongst educated. International collaboration research. Africa Academy of Science collaborates with international partners in genomic evolutionary research, furthering solidifying the role of African scientists in global scientific advancement. A vital contribution of African Science Organization Evolution. African scientific organizations promote evolutionary science through research, education, and policy, ensuring it is integral to African scientific curriculum. Global scientific organizations support evolution. A multitude of major scientific organizations worldwide have formally endorsed Charles Darwin's scientific theory of evolution, as the cornerstone of modern science.
Time.
This asserts evolution to support overwhelming evidence for the various scientific fields, including genetics, paleontology, geology, emphasizes the importance of scientific education. Man, he out there flim-flamming.
Thank
Time.
you.
Okay, so all right, so this is simple. I want y'all to pay attention. He spent a good portion of his round talking about sources. He talked about sources, but he didn't actually show any sources. He talked about genes and genomic theory and genomic evolution. Genes has nothing to do with Charles Darwin. Almost 3/4 of his round. This is like in the courtroom when the lawyer says objection, and then the judge says sustain. Jury, I want you to erase everything you just heard from your mind because it has nothing to do with this case. All of that was gobbledygook. Nothing that has to do with genes or modern evolution has anything to do with Darwin. Also, he mentioned fossils. Unc cannot show you any fossils for common ancestors. That was all gobbledygook. So what I want y'all to do is I want y'all to pay attention to this round. In fact, Joel, I see you in the chat. I want you to count the sources that I have through this round. Matter of fact, everybody in the chat, just count the sources so I can show Unc how you're supposed to source up. So we can start right here. And this is the reason why the first round I had to show you Kepler, because I'm sure Unc knows nothing about this. But it was beetles that Darwin was first studying. Darwin was first known for studying beetles. Darwin's first published work was in a book about beetles. Now, that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to help you out with some history, Unc. That's all. I just wanted to help you out with some history. And of course, you see it cited right there. You see that? Primary professional published source right there, just, showing you how you do it. So Darwin's theory was incomplete over 150 years, like Unc confirms. Unc confirmed in the very first round that his theory was incomplete, so he lost immediately, but we'll pretend he didn't. Incomplete is not a valid scientific theory. Now, a mechanism. This is what Unc does not know about. A scientific mechanism is a complex system of entities and activities organized together to produce a regular change or specific phenomena. These components and their interactions explain how something happens. This is very important because this is how Darwin got debunked, and I'll show y'all the sources for the debunkings, but I'll show you this is very important because Darwin never actually had a scientific mechanism, so his theory never was complete. Now, Unc, Again, Darwin did not have a scientific mechanism. He only had a causal pattern. And I'm going to help you understand the difference between a scientific mechanism and a causal pattern, because he didn't have a valid scientific theory without an actual working mechanism.
This man just said that Charles Darwin didn't fully explain evolution. He's right.
So we're going to go right here to the source. This is the #1 source that they use today, the Oxford Handbook of Causation. So again, somebody go ahead and make sure you count the sources, right? So we'll start with this one, Oxford Handbook of Causation. It explains a causal pattern isn't always used directly. It's embedded in a concept of causal modeling. Causal patterns refer to structured, often repeatable relationships between variables where one reliably influences the other. Now we jump down to the source right there. It's in chapter 14 of the book that you see here. This is how you properly source. Now we're going to go to chapter 15 of the same book, where it explains scientific mechanism. A mechanism is more than a pattern. They are systems of parts and processes that produce outcomes in regular law-like ways. A scientific mechanism is defined as a set of entities and activities organized such that they are responsible for a phenomena through their interactions. These are mechanisms, okay? So now let's go to Unc's source, because Unc has been using ChatGPT and AI this whole debate. So now let's go to AI and see what AI says, right? So here's me. This is asking, did Darwin have a complete scientific theory? AI says yes. Darwin proposed a clear causal mechanism for his theory of evolution, natural selection. He based this mechanism on 4 observable facts, which together explain how populations of organisms change over time: variation, overproduction of offspring, differential survival, and reproduction. Now here's me. Oh, here's Gemini still continuing. A key missing piece. While natural selection was a groundbreaking mechanism, Darwin understood that his theory had a key gap. He did not know the mechanism of inheritance. Blending inheritance, a critic pointed out, this would cause any new favorable variation to be quickly diluted out of a population over generations. Here's me. Well, that's not exactly true, right? Without the mechanism of inheritance, he actually only had a causal pattern, right? He had no physical mechanism, and the scientists of his time said so. Close that door. Gemini says, you are correct. Charles Darwin's theory of natural selection lacked a physical mechanism for inheritance, and this was a significant point of criticism from his contemporaries. Without a modern understanding of genetics, he could only describe the observed pattern of inheritance, not the underlying process. Darwin was unable to answer his critics directly. While Darwin understood he needed a physical mechanism for heredity, he could not provide one. He proposed his own hypothesis, Pangenesis, suggesting that all parts of the body emitted particles called gemmules that collected in the reproductive organs. So here's me. I asked Gemini, do you need more than a causal pattern for a scientific theory? Gemini says yes. A robust scientific theory requires more than just a causal pattern. It needs a verifiable physical underlying mechanism to explain how that pattern occurs. A causal pattern observes and describes a consistent relationship where variables A causes B, but it does not explain the phenomena. A physical mechanism explains the specific processes, interactions, and structures that cause the pattern to happen. Darwin's theory of natural selection is a perfect example of this distinction. The causal pattern. Darwin observed the causal pattern of adaptation that over time, species seem to change to better fit their environment. He also identified the driver of this pattern, natural selection, a process of differential survival and reproduction. Gemini continues, the complete theory. It wasn't until the rediscovery of Gregor Mendel's work on genetics in the early 20th century that the physical mechanism of inheritance was discovered. The subsequent integration of Darwin's natural selection with Mendelian genetics, known as the modern synthesis, created a full and complete theory of evolution we have today. Therefore, Unc's own source says that Darwin did not have a theory. And just for the record, Darwin died before Mendel's work was added to his work. So Darwin died without a complete theory. I just want y'all to know that. So again, Darwin did not have a valid scientific theory. Okay? Just for the record here.
This man just said that Charles Darwin didn't fully explain evolution. He's right.
Now we have another source here. You see this, There's another source for you on natural selection and the mechanism behind natural selection. And we're just going to go ahead and skip all the way down to the main part that you need right here, right? Because I know we need sources. So I want y'all to be counting these sources. Is anybody counting the sources yet? You see right here what it says in the abstract? Consequently, characterizing natural selection as a mechanism emerges as an implausible stance. You see that, Published, cited. This is what a source looks like. This is what a source looks like. You've provided us with none. Now, pick your head up. There you go. Pay attention. Look, here's a second source, a third source, and a fourth source. All four of these articles, all four of these sources are saying the exact same thing. It is a population level statistical effect, not a discrete interacting process. For example, a beetle population changing from green to brown is a statistical pattern resulting from many individual instances of birds eating green beetles. Difference from other evolutionary factors. Pay attention up. This sets natural selection apart from other evolutionary factors like mutation, which is a discrete and tangible molecular process. Do you see what they're saying here, They're saying that the molecular processes are the actual mechanism. Let's keep going. Emphasis on lower levels. It draws attention away from the what's right there circled, real immediate causes of death and reproduction, such as specific events like predation or competition. So when they use real, they're inferring the opposite to what Charles Darwin had, just in case. Now that I've given you modern sources, starting with the Oxford Handbook that they use in Oxford and Harvard, then I followed up with actual articles that we could actually source, the audience could look up. Now we can go back to Darwin's time and see when he was actually debunked and by who in real time. So we're going to go ahead and get Sa to pull up in the DeLorean. Yeah, we're going to go back to the 1860s one time, You watching, Here's the fifth source for you. Look, here's the fifth source. Britain's top anatomist read Darwin's work and said that the work is speculative at best because he does not have a scientific mechanism. Are you seeing all the debunkings? That's the fifth source. Here go the sixth source. Look, this is what sources look like. This is Samuel Wilberforce. He's the Bishop of Oxford. This is the head guy of Oxford. The head guy of Oxford pressed Darwin for evidence and said these are causal accounts that are inadequate for a scientific theory. The Oxford scientists demand that he prove the mechanism, debunking him front and center in Britain's largest, most important public science forum. Did you not know about these things here? Here's a seventh source. Look, this is Adam Sedgwick. This is Darwin's geology teacher. This is Darwin's geology teacher right here debunking Darwin. And here's the source. Darwin's own teacher said, I have read your book with more pain than pleasure. I have read your book with absolute sorrow because I think it utterly false. You have deserted the true method of induction, and many of your wide conclusions are based on assumptions which can neither be proved nor disproved. Put your head up. Look at this, what I'm showing you here. Here's another one. Blending inheritance swamps advantageous variations. With particulate heredity, selection is failed. Darwin called Fleming Jenkins one of his toughest critiques, and this is what led him to Pangenesis, because he was constantly getting debunked for not having a mechanism. Are you taking notes? Here's the 9th source, the 10th source, the 11th source, the 12th source, and the 13th source. Are you copying all these sources down? Because all of these sources are from Darwin's own time period, and they say that Darwin did not have a scientific mechanism, so they could not take his scientific theory seriously. You taking notes? We got the 14th source, the 15th source, the 16th source, the 17th source, the 18th source, the 19th source. This is coming from the Harvard Gazette, This is coming from the Harvard Gazette, the Encyclopedia Britannica. This is coming from the Harvard debates, the Harvard records. This is coming from the American Academy of Arts and Science in January of 1860. Are you seeing this? This is coming from Harvard's top paleontology professor. This is coming from the Museum of Comparative Zoology. Do you see these sources? Look at this right here, This is Darwin's own partner. This is Alfred Russell, the co-author of the theory of evolution by natural selection. And he said Darwin messed up the whole theory, and Darwin had him effed up. He had to go on and then debunk Darwin in a series of articles and then put out a book called Darwinism, and in chapter 25 go all the way in and explain how Darwin did not have a scientific mechanism, and he didn't appreciate Darwin presenting the material to the scientific community until they had a time to fully work out the theory. So I just want you to understand this, Not only did you not understand what a scientific theory was because you didn't know what a scientific mechanism was. You didn't know what a causal pattern was. In fact, everybody in this debate has watched me do to you tonight what I've been doing to you every time I pop up on sa.neter's channel, which is introduce concepts pertaining to Darwin that you never heard of before. How do we know you never heard of it? Because in the 1,000 times you've explained a scientific theory to us, you have never once mentioned a scientific mechanism or a causal pattern or the difference between the two and why it's important to have one. Because the predictions and the experiments that you do to validate a scientific theory come from the scientific mechanism. And so when you don't have that, you don't have a complete scientific theory,
It's monkey business. Oh, no, no, no. Monkey business. Let it go, 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 go. Swinging ideas that just won't last. Darwin's theory, a thing of the past. They told us tales about a family tree, but the roots don't match the reality. A fossil here, a fossil there, but no missing link, just empty air. Now the groove has changed, the record scratch turns out that.
Now, hopefully you understand he did not have a scientific theory, so he did not have a valid, he did not have a scientific mechanism, so he didn't have a valid scientific theory.
This man just said that Charles Darwin didn't fully explain evolution. He's right.
Now, are y'all counting the sources in the chat? Joe, are you counting the sources? This is the 23rd source right here. This is the 23rd source on Pangenesis, on Darwin in general, but I believe this one specifically on Pangenesis. It says critics highlighted the theory's lack of mechanisms of inheritance and development. In 1859, Darwin had not explained how environments caused different organisms in the same population to vary their traits, or how offspring inherited those variations from their parents. Darwin proposed pangenesis theory to complement his 1859 theory of evolution via natural selection. I wish Jabari was here because he kept asking me, did I have sources for this material? Make sure you send a copy of this to Jabari. Darwin never had any experimental results to support the existence of his theory, gemmules. Darwin based his pangenesis theory, as well as the theory of natural selection, on his observations of turtles, finches, and other species. That's it. That's it. And we know what happened to pangenesis. His cousin Francis Galton tried to hold it down and tried to validate it. And what happened to the rabbits? They killed up them rabbits. They manipulated the rabbits' blood. And ultimately, Francis Galton wound up being the next person to debunk Charles Darwin's theory, because he created pangenesis so that he would have a mechanism and he would have a scientific theory. But once pangenesis was debunked, he was back to start without a complete scientific theory, just for the record, so we clear. So we have Darwin's teacher debunking Darwin, Darwin's co-author debunking Darwin, Darwin's cousin debunking Darwin, Britain's top anatomist debunking Darwin, Oxford University debunking Darwin, Harvard University debunking Darwin, the Royal Institute for the Royal Society debunking Darwin.
This man just said that Charles Darwin didn't fully explain evolution. He's right.
Now we go back to your source again. Did Darwin die with the incomplete theory of evolution? And what does it say right there, I want you to read it while the audience reads it. Joel, you in the chat, I want you to read it at the same time. Yes, Darwin died with the incomplete theory of evolution because he did not understand genetics. The very thing that has been trying to lie and pass off all night as Darwin's. Yeah, because modern genetics this and modern genetics that. Modern genetics has nothing to do with Darwin. And as you've been saying, Darwin's theory is the conversation we're having tonight. We're debating Darwin's theory, Darwin's concepts. Darwin didn't know anything about genes. Darwin died with an incomplete theory of evolution because he didn't understand genetics, the mechanism for how traits are inherited. He was also unaware of the age of the earth at the time, and the fossil record was incomplete. This is why Unc can't show you any common ancestors to validate anything that he's saying.
Swinging free. A chimpanzee was the key to you and me. Yeah. But now the truth's got a brand new suit. Science done switched up the whole pursuit. It's monkey business. Oh, no, monkey business. Let it go. Swinging ideas that just won't last. Darwin's theory, a thing of the past. Tree, yeah. But the roots don't match the reality. Yeah. A fossil here, a fossil there, but no missing link, just empty air. Now the groove has changed the
Unc. Now we can look at actual names, so I could give you a source of more sources, because guess what, people? There's actually a petition by scientists to get Charles Darwin thrown off of the scientific record. This is not about religion. This is not about creationism. I'm going to show you right now, scientists that are not creationists. These are actual scientists, a variety of them from every field of science in modern science right now. Every field of science. and they're saying Darwin was debunked 100 years ago, and we need to stop referring to Darwin and stop teaching him in the schools. They put together a petition. This is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them.
I saw a monkey swinging high up in the trees. Said to myself, that's not where I came to
1
be.
minute.
I ain't no ape, no fish, no crawling slime. Got a soul too big, and it's ready to shine. They say we crawl, but this heart of mine, it was born to brawl. Oh, Darwin, Darwin, you missed the beat. Your theory's cold, but my soul's got heat. I'm dancing free, I'm standing tall. I didn't come from no jungle. Oh. He wrote his book with a careful hand, but I've got a rhythm no way could understand. No fossils hold this groove I've got. This heart ain't random, it's randomized. They say we're just chance and time, but I'm a mirror.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Inky.
Yeah, go ahead and start the time. I think it's very important to know that there is no single complete theory of evolution. That's by design, by science. There's no such thing as that. There's no fixed, complete theory of evolution. There's a robust, evolving scientific framework built on Darwin's foundation, expanded by modern biology, genetics, and all that. So he's just flim-flamming. Let me share my screen real quick and get him out the game. Oh, what tangle where we weave when we practice to deceive. 1 second here. Let me get this. 1 second. Let me get this on the screen. Okay. Hold on. Do it again. 1 second. If I can get this on the screen. Okay. Y'all can see the screen, right? So y'all see right here, natural selection mechanism phenomenon. Chunk wait. This is what he used, right? Of course. Let's see. Here we go. Now, natural selection mechanism versus phenomenon. Here's that source he talked about, he showed. He's a pseudo. A pseudo always dies a day source. Chunk away 2024 natural selection mechanism phenomenon. Published online, April 4/24. It's not even a high level. It says, discusses natural selection in the context of mechanistic philosophy. He's using philosophy, explores how natural selection should be characterized as a mechanism, emphasizing the distinction between mechanisms and phenomenon. Man, that man's not the pseudo, Inky is the pseudo. What the paper argues, not all instances of natural selection produces adaptation. Natural selection must be linked to a specific phenomenon, clarifies how to define natural selection mechanistically, philosophical refinement, not scientific debunking. What the hell is going on? Mechanism versus phenomenon. Mechanism explains how the process happens. Trait frequencies, phenomenon, what we observe, adaptation. Natural selection remains a valid mechanism, but its scope must be defined precisely. Why this is not debunking. The paper does not claim natural selection is false like Inky did. It calls for conceptual clarity, not rejection of evolutionary mechanism. Empirical evidence for natural selection remains strong and well documented. Philosophical refinement strengthens, not weakens, scientific exploration.
Okay, we're at the
Natural
time.
selection, peppered morph, evolution. Doing, what'd you say?
Time.
Anyway, y'all see it on the screen. And here go my sources. He a damn pseudo cheating. We called him cheating. Misreading scientific papers. You lost your mind. And all
right,
trash.
All right. I want to say thank you, Nepal. Excellent job as always.
Hey, Saga,
when you were doing this type of work. Huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say you brothers can take a break, obviously.
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break. You got a minute to answer. Time will start.
Inky misunderstands what an actual theory is. There is no such thing as a complete theory. He mischaracterizes science there. So his question is crazy. No person understands scientific literacy would ever say that a theory is incomplete. It's constantly, you can add to it. No such thing as what you just said. You made that up. With people from the 1800s talking, Wilberforce and them. They the sources you use.
A scientific
hold
theory.
on, Inky, you got to wait until his time is up.
Oh, so basically what I'm saying, he uses outdated sources in the 1800s. None of them even know about genetics, right? Everybody in science doesn't have to agree, And as a matter of fact, those sources you brought with those writing that letter, man, they not even trying to debunk evolution. That's the point. We're going to bring it up in the after show. We're going to get you real good here. So point blank, there is no such thing as a complete theory. You made that up.
Time. All right. Hold on, Inky. I want to say to both of y'all, if y'all answer the question fast enough, you can always go back and do some rebuttals within your time. If you want to say something within your time. Oh, that's good. That's good. See, you're a professional. You know how to do this. Inky, let's continue. I mean, it's your turn. Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. How do we understand what's true in science?
Time stop.
We have to have a validation process. So when you have, like, for example, a scientific theory has specific parts, and integral to a scientific theory's parts are that you have a complete scientific mechanism. So that way you can validate the scientific theory through experimentation and predictions on the results those experiments will bear out. And when your experiments and your predictions fail, as like Darwin's did, then the scientific theory is rendered incomplete, and you have to go back to the drawing board until you can complete the different parts of a scientific theory. So that's why when you read the scientific theory definition from Wikipedia, it actually elaborates on those parts, and you can't have a complete scientific theory without that.
Time. All right, Dr. Inky is on you.
All right. So, do you accept the fact that Darwin's theory of evolution was incomplete until after he died and they added Mendel's work to it?
Time stop. Can't hear you,
Okay, actually what happened was genetics actually added to the strength of Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. It gave more explanations to more things. So, like I said, you're misunderstanding what a scientific theory is. A scientific theory doesn't mean something is complete and the person that comes up with the theory knows everything about everything. That is religion. Religion knows everything about everything. It absolutely makes no sense in scientific discourse to say that Charles Darwin didn't have a scientific theory. Now you're saying that he had a theory, but it wasn't complete. Make your damn mind up, man. And at the end of the day, man, we not going to do this. We're not going to mischaracterize science, what we think it is, what you feel it is. At the end of the day, Charles Darwin has the foundation. It's the cornerstone. I showed all the sources of modern biology at the end of the day. Okay? So, yeah, bro, you need to get that straight. Go back and look at the presentation. It'll help you out in your pseudo endeavors.
All right, Tom.
My turn?
Unc?
Okay. Okay. Why did Native Americans become sick when they encountered Africans and Europeans?
Time stop.
Why did they become sick? Any wild variety of reasons they could have became sick, because they weren't used to the climate, the air, the water, the bacteria, the viruses. There's a zillion different reasons why they could have got sick. So that actually doesn't that you might have just wasted a question on with that one. But what I'm trying to get you to understand, though, and this is part of my answer, is that we weren't debating modern genetics. We weren't debating whether Darwin's theory was the cornerstone of gene theory and modern biology. What we were debating, I'm not even sure if you know what we're doing here, but we were actually debating whether Darwin had a complete theory, because that's what the question is. Did Darwin have a valid scientific theory? And without the scientific mechanism, the answer is no. So this is why I showed you over 20 sources. 20 sources. I even started with the Oxford Handbook that showed the difference between a causal pattern and an actual scientific mechanism. I think you're avoiding.
Enki, when I say time, you could have completed your sentence. You ain't had to just stop right there. You could have completed
Let him finish his sentence. You good? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, no. I think the people get the point.
Okay. All right. Unc is on you.
No, it ain't. It's on me.
I mean, Enki, your third question.
Correct. So, you do agree that you lost the debate, because you do agree, like you said in your first round, your second round, and your third round, that Darwin did not have a complete theory. And I'm not sure if you understand that when you keep saying that when Mendel's genetic information was added to Darwin's, it strengthens it. You saying it like Mendel lived across the street from Darwin and he helped him out and just gave him the missing homework answers. Darwin was dead long before they added Mendel's theory to Darwin's
theory.
Brother.
Question.
Do you agree that you lost because Darwin's theory was incomplete his entire life at the time of his death? Darwin died with an incomplete theory. So do you agree that you lost because you have not proved that Darwin's theory was complete? In fact, you admitted that it wasn't.
One thing around here in these debates, the first person to start talking about day one must have goddamn lost. Let me make this point right here. There is no such thing as a complete theory of anything, because new information will always come forward based off of better technology. So better technology came along and it did not, it could have debunked his scientific theory, right? But it did not. It actually added to it. And we talked about how scientific theories don't really get debunked. What happens is, and I gave examples for it, right? What happens is it adds to. It gives more explanations. So you're stuck. I get it, bro. You're stuck in a religious mindset. In a religious mindset, Jesus Christ died for your sins. If you happen to dig up Jesus Christ and they exhume his body and realize, wait a minute, he didn't have holes in his wrist. He actually had his chest cavity caved in, and Jesus got ran over by a damn chariot. At that point, you can't change it. You can't say, man, look, he didn't die on that cross. He got ran over by a chariot. But in science, right, you can always add to information. Science pushes technology and technology pushes science. See, you can't get out your own way there, bro. Get it together, man.
All right, let's go with your third question.
Okay. What part of biology helps us understand the immune system?
Time starts.
Biochemistry.
Don't waste your time and keep going. Go into something.
No, I just killed Unc.
Yeah, but your time is running, brother. You can say a lot of things you probably forgot to say, bro. You answered it. Now go in. Keep going.
Yeah, listen, I just blew his head. He thought he had something. Listen. So, respectfully, you haven't proven that Darwin had a complete theory. In fact, I think we proved conclusively that he didn't. I mean, your answer even there about the immune system. You don't even know how the immune system works, brother. So, we can. In fact, when you ask and you try to make an allusion to the evolution of the immune system, can you show us a step-by-step fossil record going from the common ancestor? Oh, I forgot, you can't find the common ancestor. But can you show us a step-by-step record going from archaea to human mammals?
All right, it's not your turn to ask a question.
Oh, okay.
Time.
Okay. Well, he doesn't have the record. I'll say that.
All right, Dr. Enki, let's go. Your fourth question. Now you can ask your question.
Unc. So you refuse You refuse to quit. You're a dead man walking, I guess. Your head is chopped off and it's on the ground and you're still moving around. You just don't want to. In fact, you've already admitted it today. In fact, you admitted it the other day. That's why I put the clip in there. This man just said Darwin had an incomplete theory and he's right. So I guess the only thing for me to ask you, Unc, is are you willing to open up your mind and continue to learn so that you can evolve scientifically and learn some new things? You know, like I want you to learn about, I want you to accept what I showed you and maybe order that book from Amazon about causal patterns and scientific mechanisms.
That's the question. That's the question.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. My mind is, yeah. A part of science and science education is always having an open mind and admitting when you are wrong. Okay, so for sure, you messed up all the damn questions. First of all, the foundation of biochemistry is actually Charles Darwin evolutionary theory. The second point is the answer to the question of why the Native Americans got sick when why Native Americans got sick when they came across indigenous Africans and Europeans was because their immune system had not evolved to handle the old world pathogens. They had new world immunity. They didn't have old world immunity. This absolutely reinforces and verifies Charles Darwin theory of evolution, brother. So that is the answer to those questions. Pseudo always gets it wrong. Every time. Woo-hoo-wee.
All right, Tom. Ask your fourth question.
My fourth question is what scientific theory has unified all of biology?
Tom, start.
The scientific theory that has unified all of biology is quantum mechanics and the discovery that subatomic particles provide the energy and information for all working organisms. That's number one. But number two, which is crazy, I don't even understand if you know what you just said. You just said that the new world, they had new world immunity and they couldn't handle, because they didn't have old world immunity. But by your theory of evolution, the old world immunity evolves into the new world immunity. So by you saying that the new world people could not handle the old world bacteria and viruses, that debunks your theory, Unc. I'm not sure if you understand these things you're saying because you be searching them like right before you say them. If your theory, if Darwin's theory holds that we're gradually going one from the next, then the immune system from the last group gets passed to the new group. And if we're all from Africa, the African immune system gets passed to the next group of people. And so when you say that the new group of people didn't have the African immune system, you just shot yourself in the foot again, Unc. This is why I'm saying it's kind of dangerous to say things that you just looked up a few seconds ago. You know, you got to get familiar with this info before you throw it out there. That is crazy. I can't even believe you said that. Yo, this is wild. Nasty work.
Oh, I'm on mute. You're on your fifth question, Inky. You have done more than...
We got 4 questions, bro.
Huh?
Yeah, we only got 4 questions.
Yeah, this is last one.
Oh, damn, I'm bugging out, man.
You bugging
No,
out.
that was the last question right there. The last one was the one Unc said. I just answered.
Yeah.
So now we go to the next.
I'm
Okay,
wilding. So now we are at the closing remarks. And family, let me just say this real quick. The after party is where y'all can come in and ask these brothers questions. That's where y'all will all be able to come in and ask them questions. So I'm already set up over there. Y'all might want to come in right now because it's going to get crowded. So y'all in the building already. All right, I already dropped the link.
You don't have all the pseudos, bro.
Nah, man, I know. I dropped the link already. And so, Brother Unc, you got 5 minutes in your closing remarks, brother. Bring it home. Bring it home.
All right, let me get set up first before you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just to kill around right here. Hold on, let me get it all set up and get them out the game. Goodness gracious. Hold on. Let me just get set up here. Closing round. Say the best for last in America. That's how we do it. We're going to save the best for last. Let me get it set up here. And let me find the screen. Closing round. Let me come to the Journal of Nature. It's the punch you don't see that knock your ass out. Here you go. 150 years of Darwin's theory of intercellular flow of inheritable information, 2018. Charles Darwin published the Pangenesis theory, which posed mechanisms of flowing inheritable information between cells and generations. Pangenesis has since been disputed, but emerging evidence of cell-to-cell communication urges a reconsideration of his 150-year-old theory. Here it goes. We're going to finish it right here. The ongoing scientific legend, Darwin's Pangenesis, should be credited also for the concept of cellular communication through extracellular molecular carriers, which resonates well with current existing research into intercellular communication and even extends to the population level, exemplified by oral transfer of information of social insects and interspecies and cross-kingdom interactions, as exemplified by bidirectional endosomal transfers of small RNA between plants and fungi and immune responses. This contemporary breakthroughs are expected to promote future studies on horizontal gene transfer and microbiome, host interaction, draft hybridization, and plant interactions. It says, historically, the theory of pangenesis has been neglected by the scientific community. Compared with Darwin's widely accepted theory of natural selection, which was presented on the origin of species, however, pangenesis is of great value to Darwin's scientific system. In a letter to Joe Cooper, 1868, Darwin wrote, "You will think me very sufficient when I declare that I feel sure in pangenesis is no stillborn. It will, thank God, at some future time reappeared, begotten by some other father and christened by some other name. 150 years later, pangenesis is apparently reborn as a conceptual framework for the interstellar flow of heritable information that continues to push boundaries in science." Oh man, let me move on to my next thing. Can you see the switch? Stop my time, please. All right.
Time stopped at 2:48.
Okay.
At 2:38, I mean.
It's interesting how that science work, boy. All right, here you go. Here you go.
Time
I want to give y'all byproducts now. Let me give y'all hold on, goodness gracious. Byproducts. Okay. Evolutionary medicine or Darwinian medicine. Integration of biology and modern healthcare. Education series by the pseudo killers. Immune and inflammatory disorders. An overactive immune system attacks healthy tissues. Reduced exposure to microbes may increase autosomal risks. Hygiene hypothesis and Darwin medicine. Evolutionary medicine applies evolutionary biology to understanding health and disease. Mismatch between modern lifestyles and Oxford environments cause disease. Evolutionary medicine, Nielsen and Wilson. Bacteria evolve resistance via natural selection. Some bacteria survive antibiotic multiply. Pathogen evolution, antibiotic resistance. Clinical applications in education. Many health programs are now teaching evolutionary principles. Evolutionary medicine, widely. Evolutionary genetics and precision medicine. Genetic variations reflect our evolutionary history. Understanding ancestry improves precise medicine. Genetics analysis in African populations. Epidemiology and evolutionary dynamics. Pathogens evolve to balance virulence of transmission. Human immune co-evolves, like I said about the Native Americans, in response to disease pressures. They did not have the pressures of old world diseases. Evolutionary infections and disease. Anatomy and physiology through evolution. Our anatomy carries traces of our evolutionary past. Adaptation like bipedal creates both advantages and vulnerabilities. Lebian, Harvard University Press. Evolutionary medicine. Human biology is shaped by evolution. Understanding why disease exists, why we get sick, new science, Darwinian medicine. Drug development and pharmacogenomics. Genetic variation influence how people respond to drugs. Evolutionary adaptation shapes these genetics. 5 decades of therapeutic lessons for genetic diversity. Tumors arise from mutant cells. Some cancer cells escape treatment by prophylaxis. It's a cancer as evolution in our body. We understand that through what? Charles Darwin, evolution. Evolution explains why disease emerge and how they can be treated. Integration of evolutionary biology will shape the future of medicine. Evolution, the future of medicine. Evolution in health. Evolution, Health, and Disease by Oxford. Yeah.
All right, man. Powerful closing, my brother Unc. Dr. Inky, are you ready, brother?
Yeah, hold up. Why you say powerful close? You trolling,
Well,
bro.
I'm quite sure you're going to have a powerful closing as well, brother.
Powerful closing. Side, you wow, bro. Let me see how I can share this. Google. Okay. Because Unc is up here resorting to lies now. This is crazy. And I don't know if he thinks that you start my time yet?
Not yet.
Okay, well, go ahead. Start my time.
Time starts.
Okay, so Unc is up here lying. First of all, y'all all watch his slides. None of those slides said Darwin's evolution because Darwin did not know what bacteria was. Okay, look, we're looking at the screen, so I'm not making this up. Did Darwin know what a bacteria was? No. Did Darwin know what DNA was? No. Did Darwin know what a virus was? No. None of what Unc has presented has anything to do with Darwin, and he just straight up sat there and lied to y'all. Like y'all couldn't also read the slides. Darwin has nothing to do with any of that, and that is what we're debating tonight. So stop my time, sir. You stop my time, sir?
Time stopped at a minute, Inky. You got 4 minutes left.
Oh, that's great. That is great. That is great. So we can come back over here. Yeah, we can come back over here to this part. Right? Yeah, you can see my screen, right?
Time resume.
Time resume. Okay. So again, did Darwin die with the incomplete theory of evolution? Yes. Darwin died with an incomplete theory of evolution. Unc, when he wants to, Unc will tell the truth sometime. I don't know why he's not tonight, because Unc already admitted to this multiple times.
This man just said that Charles Darwin didn't fully explain evolution. He's right.
I want y'all to have that in your mind.
This man just said that Charles Darwin didn't fully explain evolution. He's right. This man just said that Charles Darwin didn't fully explain evolution. He's right.
So I want y'all to understand that none of what he presented had anything to do with Darwin, and he even lied and tried to pass it off as Darwin's evolution. Darwin didn't know about genes. Darwin didn't know about viruses. Darwin didn't know about bacteria. And his example that he was hinging his whole argument on about the Native Americans getting sick when they ran into the Africans totally debunks his theory. Because if the older Africans were passing on the advantageous traits, the most advantageous trait a human can have is a good immune system. So if we were passing on the advantageous traits, the Native Americans would have got
the good immune system from the Africans, which they did not. And this is a part of the reason why all of those scientists in Darwin's time period that I was showing you was debunking Darwin, because they said his theory could not account for the transfer of genetic information. That transfer of genetic information includes the immune system, which is why Darwin thought that the immune organs were vestigial. The very immune organs, your thymus, your tonsils, all of these things, Darwin thought they served no purpose because Darwin didn't even understand what an immune system was. So again, people, I want y'all to understand when y'all are watching this, Unc has no idea what he's saying. And respectfully, I know y'all are used to him stumbling through the words, but he can't understand the words that he can't read, respectfully, which is the reason why he would make an example about the Native Americans getting sick from the Africans that destroys his whole entire argument. This, what I'm telling y'all, is evident to see. Not only was Darwin's theory incomplete, but Darwin didn't even understand what he was doing, which is the reason why Darwin married his cousin and had 10 children, and almost all of them died from the very same diseases that Unc is saying. Stop my time, Si. Stop my time. I got a few seconds left. Stop my time.
You have a minute left, Inky. You got a minute left. We are live on sa.neter Studios. I mean, on the HOK. And we getting ready to get it in. Make sure y'all too come over right away before it get filled up.
Yeah, let's just.
I know there's no sound over here yet until this is finished, and we got 2 more minutes over here. So
this is why
there's not going to be any sound.
This is why Darwin married his cousin, and most of his kids were sick with chronic diseases all their life. 3 of them died in childhood, and the rest of them was sterile. They couldn't even reproduce because Darwin did not understand the immune system or genetic inheritance, which his whole theory was predicated upon. This is evidence in the literature of our time, in his time, and in his actual actions through his life. This is why he married his first cousin, because if he understood what genetic information was, he wouldn't have married his first cousin and had children that had a crippled immune system. And with that, I digress.
All right, Dr. Inky.
sa.neter, there's no sound on YouTube. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I know that. I know.
Okay,
I know.
all right.
All right, family. So we are done. We are completed. Great interview from both of you, brothers. I appreciate the professionalism from you, my brother, Dr. Inky. And I appreciate the professionalism, of course, from Unc. You know, a lot of people thought that Unc was going to spaz out. You know, I put that narrative out there, but Unc have always been professional inside of a debate circuit. Now, when he get on YouTube, that's a different story. But he's been professional, right? And so, of course, thank you to Queen Nepal with the help. She have done a great job, as always, moderating this debate. Thank you, Nepal. Are there any last words from you brothers? Y'all want to shake hands?
We'll see you at the after party.
I would kiss
like
and make
to
up. What
say-
y'all want to do?
I would like to say I've been wanting to beat the hell out of Inky for years. I finally
So
got it.
are we done after the after party?
The HOK is where legends and stars are born. Sa.neter make people famous. If you can't produce the evidence, then your silence is your only option. Don't come into this arena with empty hands and a loud mouth. Be ready to lay your cards on the table.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. A lot of you suckers are just hating clowns. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. A lot of you suckers are just hating clowns. I started this shit before YouTube came on. Teaching 1, 2, you 5th, making knowledge born. The nation of Islam, the God's empire. HOK set the streets on fire. In 2001, boy, we had fun. sa.neter on the bullhorn, making people come. sa.neter, the godfather of consciousness. sa.neter, sa.neter, the godfather of consciousness. sa.neter, the godfather of consciousness. sa.neter, sa.neter, the godfather of consciousness. sa.neter, the godfather of consciousness. Things don't appear to be what they seem, like chasing a ghost inside.